F Rochester, the sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester, an Odyssey sports station.
It's time to start the show and talk about the sports we saw. Inside jokes and takes from Danger and Battaglia. Bills and the Sabres and the Amherst. Who gave a microphone to these jerks? Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
How all the East Coast dads holding up today? East Coast dads unite. Everybody holding up okay? Because 6.5 hours plus for a baseball game is cruel and unusual punishment for East Coast dads.
But this isn't anything new when it comes to this time. I mean, like, you go back to the 05 World Series. There was a game between Houston and the White Sox that got over at 2 in the morning. What was the time? Any Red Sox fan that stayed up in 2018 to see your team lose to the Dodgers?
Cruel and unusual punishment for East Coast dads. If you're a Blue Jays fan and you're on the East Coast, if you're a Red Sox fan and when this happens, I want to just throw up a red flag. This is cruel and unusual punishment for East Coast dads. We have lives. We got to get up in the morning. We have responsibilities. We can't be staying up until 3 in the morning. What are we doing?
Well, if you were hoping that I would break down well, here's what's happened in the top of the 13th when no, I punted at the end of 9. I'm like, this is not going to get over anytime soon. Got a full day ahead of me. The football game's been over with for a little while. Hey, this is why, in part, they used to start these games. There used to be World Series games in the day when actually there was television and actually, hey, there was lights and things like that.
We need to go crazy, and I, like you, did not stay up to watch the entirety of that marathon. But just the cliff notes, I mean, how many times did Shohei get on base?
9 times.
Shohei Ohtani listens to the sports bar.
If the Dodgers end up losing this series, and it's hard for me to imagine.
Well, they're up 3-1.
Well, they've won. I don't know if you know this or not. Ohtani's pitching today. Yamamoto would be in Game 6. It's looking that way, right? Ohtani's the MVP one way or another, right?
They didn't pitch to him. They don't want to pitch to him.
They can't.
They can't pitch to him.
They can't pitch to him.
It's amazing.
This is Barry Bonds level style. Well, it's actually worse than Bonds.
It's amazing. And Freeman, once again, the hero. And the second time he's had a walk-off in the World Series. First player ever to have 2 walk-off home runs in a World Series. The guy's clutch. The Dodgers. Look, I'm pulling for the Jays. I'm pulling for Ernie. I'm pulling for our guy. I'm pulling for the Jays. But, man, how? How do you beat that team in this series, in a 7-game series?
The same way you always beat them, just by being scrappy and working counts, and your pitchers cannot afford to make mistakes, Danger. And we could say, hey, it was great for Freeman in the 18th. Hey, that was really fun for Ohtani to tie the game up.
19 runners left on base.
You got to go back to Scherzer giving up the first Ohtani home run.
Yeah.
You got to get Scherzer to Teoscar Hernandez a home run. Like, everything counts. Everything is blown up. And we have the saying in the sports bar, like, officiating is not an excuse.
Right.
But what you saw last night from Mark Wenger, the home plate umpire, that was egregious. So if you missed this portion, clearly it's...
Did this happen in the hour 4 or 5 of the Major League Baseball game that
it
was
happened in hour 1.
Oh, hour 1. I'm
hour
sorry.
1, but
Okay.
you might have been watching football.
Yeah, I was going back
point.
and forth.
Yeah, you've been watching football. It's ball 4. The ball is easily 6 inches up out of the zone, and Wenger doesn't call strike right away. And so the batter tosses the helmet, and Bichette's on first. Okay, he's going to walk down, walk down the second.
Oh, I did see this.
And then strike. And then everybody kind of goes, and then Glasnow realizes, hey, wait
Bichette's
a second.
off of first.
Boom.
Yep.
And it makes Bichette look dumb.
Yep.
There's no reason. The call was so late on that.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. And you're right. I think every mistake gets magnified when you're playing a good team like the Dodgers. And you can equate this to any team. Well, we can talk about the Bills and the Chiefs. When you're playing against the Chiefs, every small mistake will be magnified. And we'll talk plenty of Bills and Chiefs through the course of the week, obviously, as we get ready for Sunday afternoon in Orchard Park. The Chiefs do get over on Washington. Ugly first half. They looked more like the Chiefs in the second half. And not only do they get the win going into Buffalo, but we advance in Survivor football, Gino.
I would say they look like the Chiefs in the first half. That is the Chiefs team you saw last year, sleepwalking, disinterested. You're facing a backup quarterback. Why is this game tied? They shouldn't be tied. Wake up. And they did wake up eventually. So I did not text you at all last night, Danger.
No reason to.
No, you're not in danger here.
You knew the outcome. I knew the outcome. That was a very comfortable week in Survivor football. I have a feeling we could go through another comfortable week. We have another fairly obvious pick for Week 9 in Survivor football. We'll give that pick here in about an hour.
I can't wait.
I spent way too much time on this pick. It shouldn't have taken me as long as it took me, but I hope it's worth everybody's time. And if you're like us and you're still alive, well, I should say if you're like me and you're still alive in your Survivor football pool, sorry, Gene, we'll give you a winner to advance to Week 10.
There's one that is just jumping off the page here. Fits every criteria. You've advanced. You're on the Week 10, buddy. Congratulations.
I believe so.
Yeah.
We got a great show lined up for you. We'll talk some fantasy football as well with Michael F. Florio, who joins us from NFL Network. He'll be our guest right around 4:45.
Who is Bam Knight? You ever hear of Bam Knight?
He's the running back in Arizona.
That's correct.
He was with the Jets for years.
So Bam Knight, why would we even bring him up? Oh, wait a second. He's getting a share in Arizona, and they get the Cowboys.
Yeah.
So if you were somebody, and hey, you might be, Cam Scatteraboo is down. Oh, no, Isaiah Pacheco looks to be down this week. He's week to week. Just like every week, you're going to have to navigate injuries. What is on your waiver wire? We will talk to Michael F. Florio at the end of the 4 o'clock hour.
Going up against my daughter in fantasy football this weekend. Your boy needs a win. I mean, I don't want to have to kick her out if she beats her old man in fantasy football.
Yeah, like what would be worse, the day that your one daughter shoots better than you in golf, or
well, that's already happening. That's pretty close to happening already as it is. Yeah. We'll talk to Mike Leone, Rochester Americans head coach, with his weekly check-in. He's coming up right around 4:25 this afternoon.
Like the start for the Amherst. Things are going well here, Danger. So, look, team is away this weekend. They're going to be back home coming up not this Wednesday, but the first Wednesday, November 5th, against Syracuse. We'll talk to Michael Leone in the 4 o'clock hour.
I won't have a chance to do this with Coach Leone this week, but I am going to bring it up to him at some point during the course of this season because he does this, and I've noticed a lot of coaches do this. In fact, I just saw Ben Johnson of the Bears do this when talking about Caleb Williams. In a losing effort, you say that your team played better than they did versus the time when they were winning, the game that they won, or the effort that they gave in a winning effort. Caleb Williams threw a really bad pick in that Baltimore game, and he made some really good passes. So I get what Johnson is saying. There's enough there where Johnson can get away with saying, "No, I thought he did a lot of things better this week than he did last week, and this is just a progression." And I think it's a psychological thing that if you're a coach or a leader, you have to say to get people to believe that their performance isn't as bad as it actually is.
I think every college hockey coach says that. So, Coach, last night about the 4-1 loss, I really liked the way we played. It's
right. I
it's the
think
same.
we played better than the night where we won 8-1. What? Huh?
Just listen to that next time you hear that. And it's really only in hockey.
I won't be able to do it with Coach Leone now because they're on a heater, and we don't mess with a winning streak.
No, we don't
book.
want to do that.
So that conversation coming up at 4:25 this afternoon, and we're gonna go to the injured list and check in on our buddy Matt Perino. Is this a 2 to 4? It's not enough to put him on the IR. We're not going to shelve him for 4 weeks. But what's up with the high ankle sprain? We got to find out. He was spotted in a walking boot leaving the locker room. And his status for Sunday, I think, is questionable.
I just curious, because you always hear the high ankle. How do you know it's bad right away? I've had a sprained ankle, but I never had a high ankle. What is the difference? Matt Perino playing, I don't know, some pickup hoops the other morning, and all of a sudden you see him tweeting a photo of him in a walking boot. So Matt Perino is a gamer, though. He will be joining us here.
Matt learning like the rest of us have learned. You can't do all the same things you used to do when you were young. As you get older, it gets a little bit tougher to play those pickup basketball games or men's league hockey or whatever your choice of activity is.
I don't know if you heard this from Perloff this morning. He had a source within the Giants about the Scadaboo injury, the ankle. The way he described the ankle injury, The Exorcist.
Yeah, no, I want nothing to do with that. I'm a little upset at my buddy Richie C, who sent. You hear me talk about my neighbors, right?
Yeah.
He sent me the text message. Sent the whole group the text message, the image, the still shot. I'm like, nah, I don't need to see that. Do not need. It doesn't go that way. Don't need to see that. Thank you.
How do you filter that stuff out? I guess you can if it's out of your buddy's text chain. So.
You can join us on the Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub Wingman line anytime this afternoon. Our phone number is 866-4FAN, 866-4326. Award-winning barbecue from Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub, 135 West Commercial Street, East Rochester, goodsmokebbq.com.
We should mention, too, at Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub, kids eat free on Sundays, Danger. You just have to have the accompanying adult meal.
Thanks for joining us at 95.7 FM, AM 950, the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps if you're mobile. And if you're stationary and you're watching on YouTube, we appreciate that as well. On Twitch and on YouTube, at The Fan Rochester, our channels. Like and subscribe while you're there. So
our cameras are back up.
We're back
running.
up.
Well, what happened yesterday, apparently somebody over the weekend decided to move all the cameras around, and turns out that you actually can't do that, and that's why we were kind of dark yesterday. You could hear us, but you couldn't see us. But
yeah, well, which might be actually better. I mean, some days you just don't want to see us.
Well,
you'd much rather just hear us.
Counterproductive.
Not really worth doing a video stream if there's no video. I get it. But anyways, we are up and we are rolling once again on YouTube.
Should we put a ring cam in our studio or something like we caught bum bum bum?
It's Joe Capagreco sneaking through.
Hey, what are you doing?
With a trench coat. He's wearing a bandit mask and a trench coat.
Enough of the Italian jokes, all right?
I don't like it. I don't like you guys. No. I'm going to take your cameras and I'm going to put them in the B studio. What do you think of that? Yeah. So we're back. We're back and we're up and we're rolling. Great show lined up for you, and you could be a part of it as well at 866-4326. Okay.
Chiefs will be without Isaiah Pacheco here week to week. Are we really concerned that that's going to, cause the Chiefs to go out and get a running back at this point?
Oh, for the trade deadline.
Yeah.
I actually don't think they'll do it. I don't know that they will. I think that with each passing day, I'm like, I don't know that the Bills are going to make a trade at the trade deadline. Oh. And I know that will upset a lot of people, but there is something about our conversation yesterday with Nate Geary when we were talking about the wide receiver offseason conversation that irked Brandon Beane, right? Really upset him. And then 2 days later, he went and signed Elijah Moore. And, he's been around, but nothing special. I don't know that a wide receiver is coming back to Buffalo. They did that last year. And I almost feel like this is Beane kind of putting his foot in the ground and saying, no, we're going to go with the guys we got.
I hope that's not the case, but there's another story from the NFL today. I'm thinking, being the New Orleans Saints have named Tyler Shuck their starting quarterback against the Rams this week. That's not a surprise. This team sucks. Spencer Rattler is who he is. If you spend a second-round pick on a quarterback, we'll get him in there. What I'm saying is, you're going to go with the second-round pick. Are you really going to take away his number one, number two weapons and being Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed? Both those guys were drooling over. That's the team we've identified. Hey, New Orleans, they've got cap issues. Hey, New Orleans, they should be getting all sorts of draft capital to move up and get a different quarterback. Hey, you're going to have these quarterbacks as well, but what I'm saying, Danger, is I can't see now New Orleans very easily just flipping wide receivers if they really want to give this kid an honest chance here.
I like what DA said to us last Friday, that even a team like the Saints isn't ruling themselves out right now. They're not saying we're going to throw in the towel. We're looking forward to next year. Even with the change to Tyler Shuck, it took them a long time. There was probably a belief, and I believe that Spencer Rattler probably still gives them the best chance to win. He had a bad game, and now you want to see what you have with the kid. Okay, that's fine. But you're still technically in it. You're not eliminated.
That's an argument you're making for later trade deadline, right? Would it be better if it was like right before Thanksgiving? Because if you're, come on, you and I were great. I know the Saints, but even DA said, hey, if the Jets beat the Bengals, you don't think that when you look at their schedule, they could be like, we can turn this thing around and perhaps. Because I look at the Jets like, boy, it'd be nice to bring back Harrison Phillips. The Bills could use a defensive tackle now, but are the Jets really in sell mode? Who is in sell mode in this league?
Right.
The teams that are in sell mode should be raking it in. And what you're seeing in the market, there's no movement. And there was some caller called in, one Bills Live, and my thing, I swear they don't screen the calls there, but neither do we. But anyways, I digress. Oh, what's going on? The Bills aren't doing anything with the trade. You think they're not trying? You think they're not making calls right now?
Yeah, I'm not going to doubt that. I'm sure that there is an effort being made. I just don't think when it's said and done, you're willing to part with what it would take to get a deal done. And in Kansas City, with Pacheco being week to week, you've got Hunt, who's effective, I guess, gets it done when you need him to get it done. You also have Brashard Smith, and they probably have a belief that those two guys, along with Elijah Mitchell, a veteran, can be enough to get them through this patch where Pacheco is healing and getting back on the field.
But even Pacheco doesn't look.
He hasn't looked the same.
No,
he hasn't looked the same since he broke his leg. He's not the same running back. He doesn't run with the same violence, and it's sad. I mean, this is why running backs, unfortunately, don't get theirs in the NFL, because it's fleeting. Yes.
That honestly,
Knock
what you're saying right now. Why do the Buffalo Bills have a chance? And I've heard so much. It's weird. Like a team that is 5-2. It feels like there's more negativity or positivity, or just this. Let's wait till January. Have you seen the running game? Have you seen James Cook? Did you see what he did there? That was another NFL team. It's happening differently. I digress, Danger. Your point about the Chiefs. If there's a need in Kansas City at running back, I think the need at running back in Kansas City is the same, if not greater, than the need at wide receiver in Buffalo. How's that?
You might be right, but I still don't think they're going to do anything about it.
Probably not. But if you're a team like the Chiefs, what are you doing? Like, you're going to give up a third-round pick, which is at the end of the third round?
I just don't think. I think they value those picks. I think every team, those picks are currency. They don't like giving them up. Even the late-round picks that are pick swaps. Late-round picks can mean something. Christian Benford is a late-round pick, right? You want as many swings at that as you can get, because you don't have a guarantee that your first-round pick is going to hit.
Well, yeah, and okay, well, just give up a fourth-rounder. I kind of like Deion Walker on the Bills right now.
Sure.
So this is the counterpoint.
Right.
What are you actually giving up? The pick swap, I'm actually okay with. I think Rasul Douglas, if we reviewed everything that Brandon Beane has done,
the Browns got over on the Bills last year, right? I mean, the Browns got way more than what the Bills got out of Amari Cooper.
Is there anything to be said for the intrinsic value of, hey, team, we're going to get better, and here's who we're bringing in for more competition? There's something to be said that when Cooper comes in, everybody else sits up a little bit straighter?
I mean,
maybe?
Do you think that happens if they do the same thing this year? Are they going to repeat history and do another wide receiver trade?
Okay, if they do, okay, who's coming off the field? I'll tell you who. He wears number 0.
Yeah.
So
you're basically saying, Keon Coleman, you are of no value to us, even though we invested a second rounder.
No. I'm not saying that at all. Taron Johnson at one point was benched. I'm saying that, hey, you have another opportunity. You get to work. You're going to get another opportunity. But for now, fill in wide receiver. Rashid Shaheed is going to take. And quite honestly, like we've been saying this all along, you said it since day one. Like, Coleman's not a fit in this offense. Put him in the slot.
He can be. You just got to move him in the slot, which is something they're not willing to do. And I'm sure if he were in that position, we would see a little bit more production. The problem is you're doing just fine with the production you're getting out of Khalil Shakir, and you're paying that guy. So Coleman remains perplexing, and I'm not necessarily sure that they're going to do what they did last year and give up a pick for a wide receiver or more, a pick or more for a wide receiver. And a team like the Saints might be asking you're desperate, and everybody knows it. And so they're going to ask for more than you're willing to give up. So if you're Brandon Beane, where is that happy medium? I don't know that it's there this year. And so, and a lot of teams that are successful let the trade deadline come and go, and they keep trucking along, and they do just fine. It's not mandatory to make a trade at the trade deadline if you're the Buffalo Bills. It's not. You're 5-2. There's a lot of football games left.
You're 5-2, and you're looking at a division that might not be yours. So are you comfortable then? All right, we're a playoff team. We're the 5 seed. Here we go. And we're going to be going to Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh's going to be penciled in, or whoever wins that division.
It ain't going to be Pittsburgh.
See,
bold prediction.
We got to go to Baltimore.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever. It's going to be a different path, I think. I do not agree with you on this. I'm okay if the Bills flip a mid-round pick.
I'm okay with it too. I just don't know that it's going to happen. I don't know if I'm trying to get inside the mind of Brandon Beane, and he traded for a wide receiver last year. You could argue that the Browns got the better end of that deal. He went through the offseason, didn't get a wide receiver in the draft, heard about it, and got pissed off about it. Brought in free agent wide receivers that haven't really panned out to this point, and I think he's arrogant. I think he's just going to stand by his guys and stand by his case. That he's invested enough in that position, and it's a lot of the same guys you had last year when your quarterback was an MVP.
Or maybe the owner says, "Hey, Brandon, what are we doing?" And he pushes him in the direction.
Right.
Matt Perino.
Can't rule that out. Matt Perino with the walking boot stumbles on into the sports bar next. A little limp in his stride, but that's okay. We'll get a timetable for recovery, and we'll talk Bills and Chiefs next with Matt Perino of the Shout Podcast and the Syracuse Post-Standard here on The Fan.
You're listening to the
World Series, Dodgers up 2-1 this after the 18-inning marathon win. Shane Bieber tonight going for Toronto. Shohei Ohtani going for the Dodgers. The Chiefs will be without running back Isaiah Pacheco. He's listed as week to week. Sean McDermott talking about that next opponent.
We have a ton of respect for them. They've had, like us, a lot of success and been able to sustain it. So they're playing at a high level. So we'll take a look at that. And but more so, we need to focus on how we can grow as a football team and move ourselves forward.
Matt Perino, the Syracuse Post-Standard and the Shout podcast, will join us next year in the Sports Bar. Tonight here on The Fan, it's Buffalo Sabres hockey. The Sabres looking for their 5th win of the season. Columbus is the opponent. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Straight up with no chaser. You're in the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
That's why, I walk away a week or so from trade deadline, and I still feel that this is a team that at least I would expect Brandon Beane to be active on the phones when it comes to a wide receiver addition, because I just think at some point that really trifecta, that third piece one-on-one's going to be huge. And I don't know what Palmer's long-term health prognosis is.
There's Dan Orlovsky from ESPN earlier on One Bills Live. Breaking news in the Sports Bar.
Ow! 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 It really hit me. I didn't know it was coming back that far.
Spotted leaving Carolina in a walking boot, leaving the locker room, Bills locker room in a walking boot out of Carolina.
Wait, who are we talking about? What player are we talking about?
Matt Perino of the Syracuse Post-Standard. Spotted in a walking boot. The diagnosis is a high ankle sprain. This is tricky. It's usually a 2 to 4 week injury. Not quite enough to put you on the IR for 4 weeks, Matt. But first and foremost, we want to check in on the status for Sunday, your game day status coming up, and the overall health of the player.
I'm off the injury report, guys. I played hurt on Sunday. So
wow.
People keep asking me that, but I just went on the road, wrote a couple stories, did a podcast, appeared on local television. We're good. We're back. Now, I will say I probably pushed it a little bit too hard because today I have not moved off the couch, and it has been, it's been sore. So we're taking it as easy as possible today. But, yeah, it was a freak accident. I came down off of a rebound playing pickup basketball last Wednesday. I play twice a week. Came down, I heard a huge crack, thought it was broken. I think I've avoided that, or at least the initial x-ray did. But the way today's going, I might have to go get this thing re-x-rayed and see if maybe I haven't been walking around on a broken foot.
Well, if you start talking loopy, maybe we'll wrap this up a little bit. Are you taking anything to help ease the pain there, Matt?
No, just your traditional aspirin, ibuprofen, nothing too crazy.
And ice, of course, lots of ice.
I cover a lot of ice. Yeah. I'm doing some foot ice baths for it, and also the thing is, I feel like I cover football. I gotta show a little toughness here.
We're a week away from the trade deadline, and break ties for us here, Matt, because I think we all think that the Bills should be active at the trade deadline. I'm kind of sitting here thinking, I don't know that they will be. I don't know that the price of admission is going to be cheap enough for Brandon Beane to make an investment. What say you as we get ready here? We certainly know that there's some holes in the roster that we look at and think, oh, that makes a lot of sense. They need to go out and get somebody.
I mean, I think to me, with the Ed Oliver news, and I'm actually just hitting publish on a story right now I wrote about that today after hearing from the coordinators yesterday, I think it's probably a two-pronged approach. I think you got to go out and get a defensive tackle. I know that they're going to get guys back, but to count on Sanders based on what we saw from him earlier this season, to me, is problematic. And, you have Ogunjobi, Walker. I think Phillips has been playing pretty well in the limited action he's had. And you think you get Daquan Jones back, and that's great. But even Daquan Jones, healthy, hasn't looked like the same player. So I think if you can go out there, a couple of names that I think are really interesting and have cap numbers that aren't crazy are Harrison Phillips in New York. I know they just traded for him, but they're not going anywhere. And if they can add a day 3 pick, I think it makes a lot of sense. And, I initially put out a number or a trade package of like a 4th and a 6th. I know he just went for 1/6, but it's an in-division trade. It's closer to the trade deadline. So the thought process there is you might have to pay a little bit more to go out and get somebody that can come in here and start alongside Deion Walker and Larry Ogunjobi, or however you want to split up those reps. And I think that adds to the group and at least gives you a little bit more depth there and the ability to spin these guys a little bit more. And the other name out there is, it's the second straight year I've been arguing for Calais Campbell. I mean, I'd give up whatever you need to do. The guy is, from a pass rushing perspective, at 39 years old, he comes with a $6 million cap hit. He is, I believe, 12th in interior linemen with 17 pressures on the season, quarterback pressures. That's more than any defensive tackle currently on the Bills. And so I think I like that approach to start. If they can go out and get somebody and it makes financial sense and you're not really affecting the cap too much with that move. And I think there's some levers at play there. I mean, a cap expert would be better on this, but I think you could have the team pick up some of the salary to fit it in. You could send a player back. There's some options there. On the wide receiver side, you have to add somebody because it's not just about adding a number one wide receiver. Sure, the Olave and Brian Thomas Jr. ideas are fun, but to me, it's more about adding to the depth of your room because without Joshua Palmer, this last game, everything looked so difficult. And, it had Joe Brady spinning yesterday talking about all this, the passing game. He said in the same 20-minute session that he has no concerns for the passing game and they didn't need the passing game to win. But at the same time, he also said that, quote, when you look at the last few weeks, I wouldn't say it's been hard, but in the situations that we're in, we're not helping ourselves get out of this, some of these situations. And also said they have to be better in the passing game. And I think the easiest path to getting better there is adding somebody like a Rashid Shaheed that can maybe stretch the field a little bit. I haven't been a huge idea of the Jacoby Myers idea. I think the money is complicated, but you have to get creative with how you're going to add another guy to this room. And I think Brandon Beane, it's going to be a busy week here coming up for him.
Yeah, we're talking about Matt Perino, Syracuse Post-Standard Shout podcast. Give us your sense of where Terrell Bernard is at. Yes, he dressed. It was Andreessen out there. Explain that whole situation here to us, Matt.
It's murky. I gotta be honest. It's to see him on the sideline with a cap, it makes sense what Sean McDermott said. When you have an injured player that's questionable for the game, limited in practice all week, I get the idea of holding him back with the Chiefs on deck, right? But it feels like even before the injury ever entered the equation, that what we've seen at times from Shaq Thompson and Dorian Williams was better than what we've seen out of Terrell Bernard and Matt Milano. So I don't know. Let me ask you guys. The Taylor Rapp knee injury, it also has this kind of layer of intrigue because he was about the worst Bills defensive player for weeks. And obviously he had this knee injury and he tried to play through it and it didn't look right. And I will say, I was surprised at how poorly Taylor Rapp was playing because he was better than that last year when healthy. So I get that. But at the same time, it does feel like maybe it was something that, and I don't want to put it like this because I'm sure that they just made the decision to sit him down because the knee injury was hampering him and, want to get that thing healthy. But it also looked so much different with him not out there. So you wonder if sometimes when guys are banged up to make the kind of switch that they're making, these questions tend to pop up, whether it's, a lot of people are wondering was Bernard kind of like soft benched, right? Is that the term that's going around a little bit on social media? I don't know. We'll see this weekend. If he was questionable for the game and he practiced every day last week, even though he was limited, and he somehow doesn't start again this week, those questions are only going to intensify.
So how much do you take from the defensive performance when you saw Maxwell Hairston for the first time and you saw Hoyt and Ogunjobi make their debut for the Bills and all of them having effective performances, albeit against a really, really bad quarterback in Andy Dalton and in an offense that just couldn't get anything going? What is your takeaway from that performance on Sunday?
I absolutely love what you just said because hasn't that been what everybody's been saying for the last 2 days? Bad Andy Dalton. That's not what everybody was saying going into that game.
I was saying it.
And I feel Okay, fair. I'm glad somebody was, because the narrative that I heard out there, especially nationally, was like the Bills are in more trouble because Andy Dalton was playing and not Bryce Young. And I think it's so easy to move off of these narratives week to week. Of course, we should have all known this was going to happen. Like Ryan and I said on our podcast a couple of days ago, the Panthers have beaten up on a lot of bad teams, but they did come in as a really good run defense and a really good run offense, and the Bills bested them in both ways. What I think happened on Sunday, and we'll see if it's sustainable, and maybe it won't be, not having Oliver now for what looks like the entire regular season, maybe the entire playoffs, we'll see. That's a huge blow. But what I talked about the last couple of weeks with the return of Michael Hoyt was more so than, of course, he had this explosive stat line. He had 5 pressures. Like, he looked the part, right? But it's what he does for everybody else there. I thought it was such a complete picture of why they made him a priority in free agency, even while knowing he was going to be out for the 6 weeks, because of what he could do to completely change the complexion of their defense. That was the best A.J. Epinesa having a good year, the best he's looked all season. Greg Rousseau, a pressure machine in that game, causing chaos. Joey Bosa getting in the mix. The defensive linemen, even after Ed Oliver went out, like Jordan Phillips had a sack.
Yeah.
Deion Walker had a half a sack. Like, it's the impact of what you can do with him and, like, the cerebral nature of his game. I wrote about that a little bit as well. That, like, yeah, I think there's a lot to take from that. Like, nobody's been beating them up like that in their house as well. I talked to a beat reporter from Carolina before the game, and, you know, a lot of times the beat reporters are a great barometer for the truth because they're so close to the team. And he said, I think this is going to be a really close game. Like, I think that the Bills will win like 27-24, but if you want to sell me on a 3-point Panthers, and then they just got their doors blown off. And that's because I think the Bills are that much better of a team. And, you know, there's a little bit in what Joe Brady said yesterday about the passing game that I agree with, that I don't think that they needed it. I will kind of push back a little bit and say that it looks hard, and it looks like they're missing real top-end talent there. And Keon Coleman hasn't, you know, taken that jump that everybody, including myself, thought was possible. And so I asked him about Keon Coleman too. And, you know, his thing, he put it on himself. Like, I got to do a better job of getting him into the game, getting him going, getting him more production. And I agree with that to a degree, right? Like, it's got to be about the offensive coordinator scheming guys open, giving them the kind of plays that their skill set entails. And my pushback too there would be like, well, why aren't we seeing the creativity in terms of moving him around like we had kind of talked about going into the season? That's got to be one of the areas where, and maybe they're saving it, you know, that there's potential there. Like, this first part of their schedule was always going to be the easy part, because you got the Chiefs starting the second half. You got the Tampa Bay Bucks, who are 6-2. Houston on the road is going to be tough because of that defense. And then you got the Eagles. There's some tough games still to come for the Bills. So if they're saving some of the stuff, I kind of get it. It's just like you dropped the ball a little bit in that Falcons game, because that team doesn't look any bit as good as they looked against the Bills that night. They probably wish that they would have gotten Hoyt back for that game.
Yeah, well, I mean, was it the personnel, or was it, dare I say, play calling? That's the other issue, Matt. Sean McDermott, is he now your defensive coordinator? He's not going to come out and say so, but certainly it looked like he was calling the plays there on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, for all intents and purposes, and, you know, I asked several questions to Bobby and to Sean about it, you know, yesterday following up after the game, and it's something that it felt like in Bobby's answer that because this is Sean's defense, it's always kind of felt like this. And maybe this was the setup with Leslie too. I mean, we remember during that tenure a couple of times where, you know, he had taken play calling duties away. And I wonder if it just gets to a point where, you know, Bobby can run the day-to-day, the operation, you know, Sean could help put in the game plan. And then on game day, like, if people are going to call it Sean McDermott's defense, right, and he's going to get the blame or the credit for it, you better believe he's going to want to make sure that his fingerprint is on the games, especially when you go through this first part of the season and things weren't going well. To get things right, I think it makes sense for him, because that's what he does well, is to, you know, that's the only way that they're going to win a Super Bowl, is if this defense can play at an average or above level and you can get this offense back to how it was playing last season. And I will say, through 7 games, the plan on their defensive line looks to have worked. If they can keep this group that's now without Ed Oliver, which hurts, healthy, and you can get T.J. Sanders back, and he can kind of be that third down pass rusher that being drafted him to be, now that you have Hoyt and Okunjobi and some of these other pieces, and maybe they add more, we'll see. To me, this was the vision, and this gives them the best chance to potentially get over the hump.
Matt, with Kansas City coming in, we know that every mistake is amplified, and you have to really be on your details, not to use a McDermott cliche on you, but it feels like if they're able to do on the ground a lot of what they did against Carolina, that could be a path to success. We haven't seen Josh play really hero ball since week 1, and man, I hope we don't have to see that again coming up here in week 9 against Kansas City.
I think everything's on the table against the Chiefs. Like this could be any kind of game. This could be a low-scoring game, like where both teams, like we saw how this first half played out last night against the Commanders, where, you know, Patrick Mahomes had a couple of turnovers on the road with the Bills all of a sudden feeling like their old selves, being able to get a couple turnovers. Like that could be the case. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit more Jordan Hancock in this game, especially because I think that they're really going to want to defend more than anything else this passing attack, because with Rice, Worthy, Brown, and Smith-Schuster, and even Thornton to a degree, obviously Kelsey and those tight ends, there's so many weapons at his disposal. Kareem Hunt in the red zone is an absolute assassin, more so in the passing game, but he's a bruising running back too. So, you know, this game can go any type of way to be. It really, depending on any moves that they make, but even if they were to trade for a wide receiver, we saw Amari Cooper coming off the streets and have a little bit of an impact early on. Like, if you trade for a receiver this week, like, how quickly do they get up to speed? Do they play him? How many snaps does he play? To me, you want to try to get Josh Palmer back for this game. I think that would mean a lot for what they can do offensively. But, yeah, they're going to force the Chiefs to try to stop the run game. And coming off of that performance, it's almost like I wouldn't be surprised, too, if they maybe throw in some more jumbo. Like, they have that in their back pocket. Like, I'd like to see them run jumbo with Knox and Pause on the field with Anderson. Like, that's not something that they've really done yet. That's something that I think could be maybe a wrinkle that can, you know, out-physical this front, because they're a really physical front, especially at the second level with Bolton and those linebackers.
Matt Perino, Syracuse Post-Standard Shout podcast. Tell everybody when the next podcast drops here and what we can go read leading up to this game.
Yeah, I just posted a story. You can go over to Syracuse.com right now. Everything from yesterday, my thoughts on the Ed Oliver situation and, you know, kind of viewing things moving forward here. Some trade stuff in the story, too. Some thoughts on that at receiver and D tackle. And then we have a Shout podcast tonight with our guys over from Channel 4 that'll drop. We'll have a staple show. And then Wingnuts, 1402 Millersport Highway, if you're coming in for the game. We'll be live there on Saturday night at 7 p.m.
All right, keep that ankle elevated. Keep icing it. We need you healthy. We need you ready to go for this weekend, buddy. Appreciate the time, as always. Talk to you next week.
Thanks, boys. Take care.
You got it. There is Matt Perino covering the Bills for the Syracuse Post-Standard. Read his work at Syracuse.com. Don't forget to check out the Shout podcast.
Yeah, I see. Are you convinced now the Bills are going to do something?
No.
No.
No, I'm not. I'm really not. If they do something, I prefer what they're talking about, what Perino was talking about, go defensive tackle. Calais Campbell, I would welcome. I would be like, yeah, that move makes sense. That's a guy that will probably retire. This is his last chance to be with a winner. But I just know that guy doesn't want to play in Buffalo.
That's not the move, though. All right, would you sign up for Harrison Phillips coming back?
No. Great guy. Love him. Great guy. Everybody loves Horrible Harry. Great guy. But what? Got traded from Minnesota. He's part of a bad Jets team. He knows the defense. He's a familiar name.
You could give up it's a pick swap, Danger.
It's not. It's a division opponent. You don't think they're going to try and rake the Bills?
No, I think that the Jets at this point.
And they just traded for him. I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. Campbell would be great. I don't see it happening. I just don't see it happening. So if those are the two guys that we're zeroing in on, I don't think either of them are actually viable.
See, the Olave Shaheed, okay, if they switch to the kid quarterback, I don't see that happening either.
No. It's tough. And we got a week to try and figure it out. See if we're like the meme where the stick figure is poking at the dead body with the stick, saying, "Do something, Brandon, do something." I don't know that he's going to, but we'll continue to monitor it. And really quick, because we didn't get a chance to ask Perino about this, and I know from what I saw online, and what I saw online was from a lot of Panther fans that were absolutely disgusted at how many Bills fans were there. Not disgusted with the Bills fans that were in attendance, actually like respecting the Bills fans that were in attendance, because like, you're better fans. You travel better than anybody. Our fans suck. All these PSL owners gave up all their tickets to Bills fans just to make a buck. And like, as I'm hearing Panther fans say that, I'm thinking to myself, it sounds like an awful lot like the Sabres. But the point is that this is a team that travels well. We know that. But it's also a team that going into this week, I think a lot of fans are thinking it doesn't matter. It's Kansas City. Who cares? If we beat them, it's a 0. We just need to beat them in January. I think you need this game. You need this game. And can you beat them twice in a year? I know it's a lot of people saying you can't beat them twice in a year. You're going to need to beat them twice in a year if you're going to go to the Super Bowl.
I kind of agree with Tasker today. Who's to say that you're actually going to face Kansas City in the playoffs? We're just making this grand assumption that you're going to be there.
Well, that's
if follow me in this. If you beat Kansas City, right, their odds to win the division actually go down, and your odds go up. So you want to put Kansas City on the road. You don't want to be on the road. You think Kansas City wants to be like a 6, having to head to checks notes, probably Denver? I mean, it would be much better for Buffalo to beat a 2. I think, are we ready to kind of let go of the 1 seed? I'm not there yet.
I'm not. I am not ready, because I don't know with Indianapolis and their schedule. I don't know that what we're Jonathan Taylor is real. He is real. That defense is pretty good. Lou Anarumo has gotten the defense to a Super Bowl in the past. We know what that guy's about. But I'm still waiting for the clock to strike midnight on that one. I'm waiting for Indy to turn into a pumpkin. I'm not 100% confident. I want to believe, for the sake of Colts fans everywhere, I want to believe for you because you've been through a lot. But I'm not quite there yet. I want to see a little bit more. So I'm not giving up on the 1 seed if you're the Bills. 2 losses at this stage, and you've got a tiebreaker on Baltimore. You have a potential tiebreaker if you beat Kansas City. You've got a game against Pittsburgh coming up. There's a lot of opportunity there, but I think a lot of that opportunity becomes meaningless if you can't beat Kansas City on Sunday. Beat Kansas City on Sunday. It matters. It does matter. Don't put all your eggs in January.
It matters, but Nick Wright and all those will have it wrong. Nobody's taking a victory lap here. Be like, okay, good, we're back in this thing. That should be the attitude, right?
Yeah. Mike Leone, Rochester Americans head coach, stopping by the sports bar next hour. We'll also talk some fantasy football with Michael F. Florio from NFL Network before 5 o'clock in happy hour. But next, Gene's favorite segment of the week.
It used to be
Survivor Football.
I'm happy for you. I really am.
Thank you.
I'm so happy for you.
We are in week 9. We are still alive. If you've been following our advice, I say our, Gino, because you're a part of this. We're a team.
I saw Brittany Gordon last night out at the trivia night. You know the Gordon family?
Of course.
Who's Danger taking? I'm like, you've stolen my identity.
Well, Brittany, don't worry. Your Survivor Football expert in the sports bar, Mike Danger, me, will be giving our week 9 pick, and you will advance to week 10 with comfort, ease, and confidence. That's on the way next in the sports bar. Danger and Battaglia on the Fan.
And in the Odyssey app at The Fan Rochester, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester, an Odyssey sports station. The Fan Rochester Sports Update.
One night after getting on base 9 times in 18 innings, Shohei Ohtani now will be the starting pitcher for the Dodgers tonight. It's Game 4 of the World Series in L.A. The Dodgers now have 2-1. The Jays looking to even things up. Shane Bieber taking the mound. The Chiefs will be without running back Isaiah Pacheco against Buffalo this week. Pacheco listed as week to week. Dan Orlovsky today on One Bills Live on his keys for a Bills win.
The pass rush is going to be enormous. I think the play action pass with the tight ends are enormous. This is a good defense in Kansas City. Pass rush hasn't been great, but you can get some chunk throws against this defense with those 2 tight ends and the play action game. And I think the second thing is the RPO game's got to be huge.
Sabres hockey tonight here on The Fan. 6:45 for the puck drop against Columbus. Amerks head coach Mike Leone joins us later this hour. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, The Fan Rochester.
It's time to start the show and talk about the sports we saw. Inside jokes and takes from Danger and Battaglia. Bills and the Sabres and the Amerks. Who gave a microphone to these jerks? Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
We have a busy 4 o'clock hour lined up for you here in the Sports Bar. Danger and Battaglia. We're glad you're with us. Thanks for listening along locally at 95.7 FM, AM 950. If you're mobile, you're listening on the Odyssey app, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps. We appreciate that. And also our viewers on Twitch and on YouTube. Check out our channels at The Fan Rochester. We have Mike Leone, Rochester Americans head coach, joining us with his team on a heater. He stops by in about 20 minutes. And before we get to happy hour at 5 o'clock, we'll talk some fantasy football, Week 9 waiver pickups with our buddy Michael F. Florio from NFL Network. That's right around 4:45.
All right. It used to be my favorite segment. It is now your favorite segment, Mike Danger.
Admittedly, I think I spent way too much time on this, so bear with me.
Before we get to this week, last night on the scale of 0, it's freezing cold out, no worries at all, to 10, you're in the Sahara dripping wet from a sweat. Where did that come down, seeing the Chiefs kind of fart around in the first half?
2?
Yeah.
2? 1.7? I mean, it really was, I had zero faith that Washington was going to win that game. And hearing Quinn, get interviewed and using the clear, we're living on the edge. We're a team that's living on the edge. We're going to live on the edge. We're just living on. He kept saying, said it 3 times over the span of 50. I was like, that's what you're selling your team. We got to play on the edge. You got to play with an edge or live on the edge. Yeah, you're on the edge, all right. You're teetering towards being a losing team and falling out of playoff position.
You made the NFC Championship game last year.
That's right.
Okay, so your quarterback's hurt, but figure out a way.
Well, that might be part of the problem.
Yeah.
Your quarterback might be made of glass.
Yeah.
And long term, I don't know what that means. But I had zero faith that they were going to pull off an upset against the Chiefs. There was no sweating involved. That was a comfortable Week 8 win, and we advanced to Week 9. I'm getting into character.
Oh, boy.
Hey, guys. Come with me as we pick our Week 9 team for your Survivor football pool. Before we get into it, I just want to thank Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub for partnering with me. Their ribs are literally to die for. The decor is what I'd call Carolina chic. And if you use my code, HiBrian, you'll save at checkout and I can pay my rent. Okay, real talk? Let's lay out all the ground rules for picking a winner. We've been doing this for a few years now, guys, and honestly, game changer. There's Gene. He's the architect of these rules and a fun guy to be around. Rule 1 is we don't take road teams. Let's normalize picking home teams in Survivor pools. Thank you. Rule 2 is we avoid divisional games. The energy in divisional games is just not my vibe. Sorry, not sorry. Rule 3, we go to Vegas, where me and my girlies sip espresso martinis poolside and make sure that our pick is giving more than 5 points. I'm literally obsessed. We don't save and we don't hedge. That's so irresponsible. Couldn't be me. Bad defenses are bad plays, and believe me when I tell you, there's literally some sketch defenses in the league. You okay over there, Gino? We won't take a team playing at home for a second consecutive week. That is insane. We do enjoy picking against a bad team week after week, though. We call this protecting my peace. Here's a pick of my dog, Walter. Have you ever? I'm obsessed. I'm deceased. I can't. Because we're in week 9, we can't take the teams we took the last 8 weeks. Denver, Baltimore, Tampa, Buffalo, Detroit, Green Bay, Chicago, Kansas City. These teams all ate. No crumbs. Now let's just take a little self-care moment before we continue.
Dangerous grabbing some water. Okay.
Gotta hydrate.
Yeah.
Hydration is key. First, let's cross off the only divisional game on the schedule because Minnesota literally isn't an option playing in Detroit. Okay, real talk. These are the road favorites we won't pick. Chargers are 10.5-point favorites in Tennessee. The vibes around the Titans are less than immaculate. Indianapolis is a 3.5-point favorite. Gene in Pittsburgh. Pop off, Indy. You're 7-1, and I think you're going to lose to the Steelers.
Wow.
Daniel Jones is about to enter his soft girl era. San Francisco is a 2.5-point favorite in Jersey against the Giants, where Jackson Dart is giving main character energy. Slay Queen. The Jaguars are 3.5-point favorites in Vegas. Did I mention the espresso martinis at Aria changed my life? Literally obsessed. Oh, and Seattle is giving Washington 3.5 in D.C. Sam Darnold has that girl energy, but I think we can do better. There's 2 small favorites on the menu, but these portions aren't big enough to share. So we sent Houston and Dallas back to the kitchen and asked to be taken off our bill. Oh my God, you guys. That only leaves us with 2 options. The Patriots are 5.5-point favorites at home against Atlanta, and while Drake May is giving Tom Brady, Atlanta is literally Delulu. POV. We have our Week 9 pick. This team has an offensive and defensive DVOA in the top 5, you guys. They're coming off a bye week and a fabulous trip to London that we can't wait to share with you in our next video. They're playing a team who has 1 win and is literally starting a fetus at quarterback. Next time, maybe we'll be more challenged, but today, we did a thing and picked the Los Angeles Rams to beat the New Orleans Saints in Week 9 of our Survivor Pool. Follow for more, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Book it now. You can thank us on Monday. LA is the pick. Thank you.
Just so everyone's clear, that is the, what would we say, LA influencer, or every influencer
God.
that you hear.
LA drives me nuts,
Yeah.
man. Oh, God. Just vapid. Just terrible.
Well, every female that is 25.
You know whose fault it is? I'll tell you whose fault it is.
Okay.
I've traced the root of all of this, and it's one man's fault. And you know whose fault it is. He's a legend in the sports bar.
You got it, Juice.
It's
When
all
Chris
his
and I
fault.
broke up, the Juice was there for me every night. It's like he's not really the Juice anymore. We gotta get you dressed, Juice. Juice, a will? Juice. Come on, Juice. Juice! Juice, it's AC. Juice! AC's here! Juice, I heard Juice. It's on every channel. You know I feel the same, Juice. You're gonna tell them yourself, Juice. Juice, your whole family's here, Juice. She's on the house phone waiting to talk to you, Juice. Juice. Okay, Juice? Okay, Juice, we're good to go. You're home, Juice. You know Uncle Juice, and your Uncle Juice...
Chloe.
Your Uncle Juice is a good man. He's never gonna stop being the Juice. It could explain a lot, Juice. Just hear him out, Juice. He's right, Juice. Listen, Juice. Juice, this is your life. Juice, please, Juice. Juice, we need an answer.
We shouldn't have known the last name Kardashian. We should never have known that last name. But here we are.
There would have been somebody else coming along at some point.
I don't know, man. Reality TV was just kind of a thing. I don't know. But one led to another, led to a generation, an army of people that want to follow in the footsteps of the Kardashians. Thanks, Juice. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you.
They're all the same, though. All those TikTok, I did this, I did that, I did this. Like and subscribe.
I feel like I got all my cliches in there.
You did,
I tried my hardest to get as many of the influencer cliches in there as I could get. Yeah, LA is the pick. Come on. We're not going to overthink this. I can have some fun with it because this is probably the easiest pick we're going to have to make the rest of the year.
Well, before the show, Danger doesn't tell me. All he said was, I spent way too much time on this. I'm like, what do you mean way too much time? The pick is the Rams. Are you kidding?
Yeah. Oh, the pick itself did not take a lot of time.
No.
Finding all the cliches and scripting out the cliches, that was what took way too much time. Yes, we do some preparation here in the sports bar. Shocking, I know. We're not going to overthink it. It's the Rams. The Saints are starting Shuck, and it's like, yeah. And the Rams are coming off a bye. I mean, like, there's nothing there to question. And if somehow the Saints travel to LA and beat the Rams off of a bye with a rookie quarterback, I will eat crow and I will be like, well, nobody saw that coming, so I guess that's it. That's our season after week 9. But I'm confident we advance to week 10. We do this every week at this time in the sports bar. We give you a winner for your survivor pool, and if you're tailing us, you will advance.
4 consecutive intentional walks. If you didn't stay up past 2 a.m., I didn't either. But it ended up being a 5th one where it wasn't intentional, but it was just 4 garbage pitches out of the zone. How many times did Shohei reach base last night?
9 times.
They can't possibly go with this strategy again, can they tonight?
Can't pitch to him.
Like he's the leadoff hitter. Yeah. Like, okay, just go. You go take first, and we're going to take our chances here.
Yeah. In an homage to Ed Rooney, I'll argue the greatest high school principal of all time. Has there ever been a high school principal with as much dedication as Ed Rooney? A guy that was so dedicated to avoiding to truant behavior. He went after Ferris Bueller. He went to his house. He scouted the premises. He did everything he could.
Yes. Principal Skinner, I would submit.
From The Simpsons?
Yes.
I don't know, man. I mean, he's got Bart just writing on the chalkboard. Rooney, broke into a house. That's dedication to the cause.
9 times.
And you had Shohei reach base a record 9. Nobody had ever done it 7. Shohei did it 9.
9 times.
Yeah.
9 times.
Amazing. Yeah, that's tough for the Jays. And bounce back. I mean, if you're going to bounce back, you're going to have to do it against that guy.
After the Rogers Center, and Duffy was up there for game 1, chanted, "We don't need you." Does Shohei take the high road at the end of this series with Toronto fans? Like in game 6, let's say the Dodgers wrap this up. I don't think he says anything.
I don't think he says anything. I don't think he acknowledges them at all. And any team that says we don't need you to Shohei Ohtani is drunk. You're crazy. You're drunk.
That was a mistake.
You're drunk. Any team would take him. You can't say we don't need you. Any team would take him. He might be, when it's all said and done, the greatest baseball player of all time. What he's doing, what he did last night was ridiculous. Again. And tonight we get to see him pitch. I mean, let's soak it in because we are in the golden age of Shohei Ohtani. You might hate the Dodgers, but man, it's hard to hate the Dodgers because Ohtani is that guy. But I know a lot of people hate the Dodgers, and I'm rooting for the Jays. I want Ernie Clement to get one. I want a champion in Rochester.
I thought the Jays, all right, this is their night. Kirk with the home run, Glasnow drooping his head. I'm like, this is it. Here we go. Nope. Nope, not even close.
Rough morning for East Coast dads who decided to make the trek and stay up and try to tough it out. And you could say that you were dozing off. Had to have been dozing off. There's no way you stayed up and engaged straight until 2:30 in the morning.
No, like I can't. Like the one event where I fell asleep and then I woke up, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're kidding me. Then you figure out what happened. It was the Syracuse Big East overtime game against UConn, where 5 overtimes, and like, okay, that one I physically failed at, and no, I wish I could have saw that last night. No, I made a choice last night, knowing, all right, I got a show tomorrow, busy day tomorrow.
Wake me up at 6 a.m.
It can't be good for baseball. Like, there's got to be some sort of happy medium, right? Can we start this a little earlier?
I think the purists really love what they saw last night, Gene. A 6.5-hour baseball game. That's 6.5 hours of just pure beauty.
John Heyman, baseball writer. Why not start like when weekend games? Let's say game 1, or it was game 2 Saturday, game 7 this Saturday. Why not start at 4 o'clock? Go up head to head against college football.
You can't start it in the afternoon because you got to get those numbers, those primetime numbers. And if you were smart or if you were a nice guy, I think you would let it go. I mean, I made a mistake years ago and I called him arson judge. But if you were a nice person, maybe you would just let it go. Oh, just had to let that go. I apologize. Because, Gene, if you don't know, America's been rolled by like an army of steamrollers. It's been erased like a blackboard, rebuilt and erased again. But baseball has marked time. It reminds us of what was once good and what could be again. Baseball. Oh, much better.
What did you have for lunch?
I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Fiber. Lots of fiber.
It's good for somebody your age.
If you were a nice person, you maybe would let that go. You wouldn't bring that up. I can't help myself. 6.5 hours is borderline torture.
Well,
that's punishment.
All right. So can we have the realistic conversation about the Ghost Runner?
No, because I don't want it in the postseason. Right. You can have that conversation, but it doesn't go very far. I don't mind it in the regular season. I think it's fine. I don't mind the pitch clock in the regular season. And for what it's worth, considering that this was the equivalent of 2 baseball games, 6.5 hours is about right. Like, that's kind of what you would expect out of a baseball game. 3 hours and 15 minutes or less. But, man, if you're a hero and you made it 6.5 hours watching that game without dozing off or without turning in or calling it a night, raise a glass, man. That you're a hero. No chance I could pull that off.
I made it to the end of the 15-inning game, Mariners and Tigers. That was a lot of fun. But
that was also on a Friday night.
That was correct. And a big difference that you can sit down and watch the end of it and not have to worry about getting up next morning.
If I didn't have responsibilities, hell, who knows? Maybe I would stay up until 2:30 in the morning and watch a 6.5-hour baseball game. East Coast dad over here. Got a lot going on. Lots of responsibilities. Got to get up in the morning. Got to feed the dog. Got to get the girl on the bus. I got a lot of stuff going on. Yeah. No. Good game. Unbelievable game. Historic game. Shohei on the mound tonight. I don't like where this is going for the Jays.
No. I don't either, Danger. That you had to get last night.
Now, we turn the lens inward. The Rochester Americans are on a bit of a heater.
Yes, 6 points all against teams in the division. And now Rhodey going up north again against divisional opponents.
3 wins in a row. We don't F with a streak in the sports bar. Mike Leone is going to join us next. We'll get a preview of this weekend's action. 3 games on the road here starting tomorrow night in Belleville. Back-to-back nights, Friday and Saturday night at Laval, who we learned a little bit about and took care of at home 4-0 on Friday. So we'll get a recap from last week. We'll look ahead to this weekend's action. Amerks head coach Mike Leone next on The Fan.
Rochester Sports Update.
It's not a must-win for the Jays, but it's pretty close, and it's a tough assignment. Shohei Ohtani going on the mound tonight for L.A. Ohtani has a batter last night, reaching base 9 times. Shane Bieber goes for the Jays. L.A. leading the World Series now 2-1. Kansas City Chiefs are going to be without running back Isaiah Pacheco. He is now week to week. This following their win over Washington on Monday Night Football. Sean McDermott talking about the Chiefs.
We have a ton of respect for them. They've had, like us, a lot of success and been able to sustain it. So they're playing at a high level. So we'll take a look at that. And but more so, we need to focus on how we can grow as a football team and move ourselves forward.
Tonight here on the Fan at Sabres Hockey, Buffalo looking for their 5th win of the season. Columbus is the opponent, 6:45 for the coverage. Amerks head coach Mike Leone joining us next. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Top Shelf Sports Talk. You're hanging out in the sports bar with Danger and Battaglia on the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
And they score! Consta Hellenius, one-timer, just off the left circle and in overtime on the power play. The Amerks escape Cleveland, 4-3 the win. Hellenius, the hero.
We have a saying in the sports bar, don't F with a winning streak. 3 in a row for the Rochester Americans as we welcome in head coach Mike Leone. Feeling pretty good. You get the win in overtime on Saturday night in Cleveland. You exact some revenge on Laval Friday night. Coach, welcome back into the sports bar. Let's talk a little bit about your team's performance since the last time we spoke last Tuesday.
Yeah, it was a really good week for our group. All different games. We were playing a Syracuse team that was undefeated. Really veteran group. Got a couple guys down from the NHL. I thought we played well, found a way to win. Special teams was really good. And Laval, that game against Laval at home probably was one of the best games we've played since I've coached the team. I thought we checked really well. I think we gave up less than 20 shots. Our special teams were great, and it was just a really consistent performance for 60 minutes. And then the Cleveland game was one you just got to grind out the way the schedule works sometimes. It was our first game of the weekend. We got in really late, but everybody was committed. We were down to start the period. We had scored early. And it was another game where there's a lot of special teams. I think the last 2 games, almost full periods of special teams in our special teams, especially our power play, our penalty kill, we're executing at a really high level, both on the power play and penalty kill. And we found a way to get it to overtime and made a really good play on the power play. And it was a good week for our group.
This is from a listener. His name is Frank, and this is his observation. Then I'll ask you a question. Here's what he writes into us here at the Fan. Fans are loving this team. The addition of tough guys like Joshua and Lawan are keeping other teams honest and freeing up our skilled guys to do their thing. 4 wins out of 5. If we hope we don't look past Belleville tomorrow with these 2 games in Laval coming up this weekend. I could see the Gloves coming off in Laval on Friday night. Coach, to his point about the need for toughness on any hockey team, what is your philosophy when it comes to that, and is that something you're trying to instill in these guys?
Yeah. I think it's really important. Like the pieces, I would say last year, but we probably had one checking, probably really fine with the Jets have a full summary. Kuntar, Decision, they're just hard, heavy players that, they really work shifts and they're physical, different element to our group. And, especially with our team right now, we haven't even been close to really our full roster, which is really awesome for the group. I mean, we don't talk about it a lot, but as a coach, Oslin's up, Dunner's up, Carson Myers, going to be back soon. Those are three pieces that are in the top six that aren't even with us right now. Metza was up, RJ was out, dinged up. So when you look at what it could look like when we have a full lineup, and you never know with the American Hockey League, but I like our game. I like the pieces that we have, and that game played a level of physicality.
Think we still have Coach on the line?
I don't hear him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coach, are you there? We're in a bad cell right now, and I don't know if you're dropping in and out.
I'm on the bus right now. I could be in a bad spot. You guys got me?
Yeah, we got you. We're going to try and power through this here, but if we get disconnected, we'll try to reconnect.
No, I was just saying, like, when especially towards the end of the year, when the games get tighter and it's tight checking, there's a heaviness. You want to kind of build that in, and we have. I don't know where you guys lost me, but we've been doing it with. There's quite a few guys. Oslin's up, Dunner's up, Meyer's out, Metza was gone. A lot of cogs in the wheel that aren't here, and the group's been able to find ways to win hockey games, which is great.
Mike, talk a little bit about the play so far this season of Constantinius. I mean, he certainly looks like and is playing like the first-round draft pick that was invested in him.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job. He's, every time he touches on, the offensive side of the rink, he's really dangerous. He is a really good shot. I think he's skating better. There's still some areas of his game away from the puck. I think the habits need to get better. But overall, like, there's been a huge jump in his play, and I just think it's more confidence. Playing in the league, understanding what you're going to see night in and night out is. And the game, he had a breakout game against Laval and scored the game winner, so that was good for our group. And we need guys, especially with the guys we have out, to contribute, and he's done a good job of that.
As far as the goaltending, here comes the goalie question. It's been Levi taking 3 of these games so far. UPL is back up. So how are you managing this next stretch here coming up with the 3 games here on the road in 4 days?
Yeah, I think it's just a week-to-week situation. You most likely see Devin, 2 of them. Most likely get Georgiev back in the net and kind of I think it's important to get him back in the net. He hasn't been here. He's a really good goalie. He's had a great attitude, worked really hard at practice. So just managing more game-to-game, week-to-week, but that most likely see Devin 2 out of the 3 games.
Talk a little bit about the atmosphere you're about to enter there this weekend, Friday and Saturday, back-to-back nights in Laval.
Yeah, no, it's a really good test for our group. We were a really good road team last year. The game in Cleveland was a big game. They always have big crowds. I think there was about 10,000. And just making sure you're poised and composed. There's, the crowd can have a huge impact on it, and you just got to focus. It's basically your team against, 18,000 screaming fans, and you just got to make sure you know how to manage those situations and the ebbs and flows in the game, and just make sure you're connected as a group and just focus on what your team needs to do to be successful.
Yeah, as the Amherst tomorrow night, it does start in Belleville. Your thoughts on the Senators trying to make this another divisional win? What kind of things does your team have to do tomorrow night to get this win, Coach?
Yeah, they're they have quite a few offensively gifted players that are off to really good starts. They play extremely hard. They're a well-coached team. Not that we don't focus on our opponent, but more for us is just focusing on the areas that we need to get better and improve on. Not so much game planning on the other team. I do think that's important, but it's more, especially early in the season, just focusing on the areas of your game where your team needs to be better.
The Fan Rochester is your proud home of Rochester Americans hockey. You can hear every game here on The Fan, including tomorrow night at 7 as the team is in Belleville to take on the Senators. Head coach Mike Leone, our guest every week at this time to talk about the state of the Amherst. Coach, appreciate your time. As always, safe travels and good luck this weekend.
Yeah, thanks. You guys have a good week.
There he is, head coach Mike Leone, Rochester Americans, en route to Belleville to take on the Senators tomorrow night.
You tell me if it's a good thing or a bad thing, penalty minutes, because I'm going to tell you who's leading the Eastern Conference in penalty minutes. It's Laval. Shocking, I know, 130 minutes. Second are the Amherst at 125. I don't think it's a bad thing when you're playing this aggressive danger that sometimes you're going to, commit infractions. So
well, what is the knock that people have on the Sabre? I mean, there's a lot of things that people have on the Sabres, but when they're drafting specifically, doesn't it feel like they draft a type and that they've drafted a type for some time? And a lot of times those draft picks are European. Sometimes they're undersized. They're more skill and less tough. And I kind of like that the Amherst have a pretty good combination of both. I mean, they've had some tough guys the last few years, but they've been more skill than grit. Let's be honest, right?
And that you talk to Amherst fans from yesteryear, like old-time hockey, that's not the team they want to cheer for. We
want some grit.
Yeah.
We want grit. We want guys that are going to get dirty. We want guys that are going to knock some teeth out. We want some goons. I think we want what we have. I mean, right now, this roster, when you look at it and you see how they're performing, you've got a little bit of both. I mean, you've got plenty of skill with Rosane and Hellenius, guys that have potential to make it to the next level and that are going to play at the next level. And you've got a good amount of guys that will mix it up if you need them to mix it up. You got some tough guys. I love it. I think it's going to be fun to watch. They haven't been disappointing in years. The Amherst are, that's our team, right? Like, that's the team we can get behind. And they kind of take on the identity of our city here. The tougher they get, the better they play. On a 3-game win streak as they head to Belleville tomorrow night to take on the Senators. Looking forward to that. So we're going to get to Michael F. Florio, talk some fantasy football. Week 9 waiver wire pickups, and look ahead to the Week 9 schedule here as well. Some matchups that we might be able to exploit.
We have reaction coming in to your Survive in advance.
Oh, good.
Yeah, Greg writing in, when did you add a Valley Girl to the show? Danger. That was hilarious on my drive home. Now I got to go back and watch it on YouTube.
Oh, thanks, Greg. I appreciate that. Yeah, I went into character for a little bit there. I mean, I'm back. I'm good. Just understand, if the job dictates that I get into character, I will get into character.
Did you get into character? Now I'm concerned. Do you go around the home talking like this?
Dude, I have a teenage daughter and a daughter who's 21. This is kind of like the life that I'm in. I'm in this. I see this.
And what radio station do you manage here locally in Rochester?
Right, yes, 98 PXY.
Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah.
So I know a little bit about that demographic. We're not in Los Angeles. We're in Rochester. But I get it. I know that probably like 8 out of 10 teenagers you talk to today, when you ask them, what would you like to be when you grow up? They'll say, influencer. Okay, good luck to you. We're doomed. Good luck. We are all screwed. Come with me as I get a mannequin. Oh, God. Okay, next. Let's get to Michael F. Florio, talk some fantasy football. Before we do that, who's hot and who's cold in fantasy football?
Yeah, like
Gino?
one guy I want to ask him about this running back for the Cardinals.
Bam Knight.
Yeah, Bam Knight will be somebody that we would certainly look toward. And I am going to sit anybody that has anything to do with the Saints offense going into Los Angeles. I'm fully on board with this. Shuck, his first one. So maybe I'm just trying to will the Saints to maybe just move off their wide receivers here.
Okay.
Who's hot and who's cold? Danger. It's brought to you by Terrible Radio. I thought I had it in front of me. It's brought to you by Heat and Cool. Who's hot and who's cold? Heat and Cool. It's cool with the K. Why K? Because it's cool.
They get that one for free.
They do. Lost my page. Find the page.
Michael F. Florio, NFL Network. We continue fantasy football next on The Fan.
You're listening. Rochester.
For the Bills, you go to 6-2 with a win, and you send the Chiefs to 5-4 and into the bye. You've got head-to-head tiebreakers over two teams that are probably going to be there at the end. And I know people are already kicking dirt on the Ravens. They're only 2 games back now in the division race.
Right. Now, at this point, you kind of feel like you've got a handle on who the Bills are, at least when they're healthy. You know, this Chiefs game, it's just as big a game for the Bills, obviously, for the emotional well-being of everything involved. But then they play the Dolphins, and it's hard to jump through the mental hoops that you have to jump through to draft a scenario where the Dolphins are able to beat the Bills.
There's Tasker and Brownie earlier, One Bills Live, talking about scenarios if the Bills win or lose. Sunday, it's Chiefs week. Michael F. Florio, NFL Network, is our guest in the sports bar to talk some fantasy football. We'll start by talking some Buffalo Bills because we know you're Bills Mafia, Mike, and it's good having you on with us again. Thanks for making time. We're having a hard time this week trying to take away anything from the defensive performance by the Buffalo Bills, knowing that Kansas City is on deck, based on what we saw out of putrid Andy Dalton and that offense of the Carolina Panthers on Sunday?
Yeah, I don't think you could take anything away from a passing attack-wise because you're getting the complete opposite side of the spectrum here with Patrick Mahomes. But I do think the Panthers have a better rushing attack than the Chiefs do, and the Bills were able to keep those guys in check. Now, that's partly because the Panthers did the Bills a favor and played Chuba Hubbard over Rico Dowdle, but we learned earlier this morning that Pacheco is now dealing with an MCL issue. He's week to week. It could be Kareem Hunt and a seventh-round rookie in Brashard Smith, who is very explosive, and I think he would be the sneakier one to watch this weekend. But if you could keep that run game in check and kind of make them a little bit one-dimensional, I do think that helps the Bills this Sunday.
Mike, let's skip ahead to the end of next week because if we're trying to value, okay, who do we play, who don't we play, I don't think Arizona is a team that certainly, would be a source of fantasy points up to this point, but they're going against this Dallas defense that has just been very, very generous. Are you putting in a bid on Bam Knight as like kind of a spot start? What would be your advice this matchup here, Arizona against Dallas on Monday night?
Yeah, I do think you should be putting in bids for Bam Knight. Now, it depends on your situation. Like, I have one league where my team has been, like, really banged up with injuries the recent weeks, and Bam Knight's out there on waivers, so I'm looking to spend about 15% of my fab because I need to start him. Now, I do need to say it's kind of what you said. It's a one-week thing because Trey Benson eligible to return in Week 10. Got to believe that he will, at the very least, have a big role there, maybe take over again as the lead back. But like you said, the Cowboys' defense has been putrid. They're in the top 2 in fantasy points allowed. 2 running backs, they struggle against them on the ground. They struggle against them through the air. And a little peek behind the curtain, I've started to see them coming out on NFL.com tomorrow. I have Bam Knight in there. I have Kyler Murray in there. I have Marvin Harrison Jr. in there because I think one lesson that people could take from the Justin Fields debacle last week is sometimes the matchup matters just as much as the player. And when you have a slam dunk matchup, it's okay to ignore some poor performances. Now, I'm not starting anyone in these matchups, but we have seen Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison, and Bam Knight all have different layers of fantasy success this season. So in this matchup, I think it is a good week to fire up your Cardinals.
Michael LaFlorio, NFL Network, talking some fantasy football in the sports bar with Danger and Battaglia. We don't invite you on to ask you if we should sit or start Bijan Robinson, but I want to ask you, who are these Atlanta Falcons? I mean, really, what is this team, and how can you trust this team on a weekend and weekend? I mean, are we just plugging our nose and hoping that we'll get the kind of performance that we got out of Robinson against the Bills and not the performance that we got last week when they kind of slept-walked their way against Miami?
I had some people in my comments this week being like, great call saying Bijan Robinson was going to have a good game. I'm like, I'm sorry. He's the best running back in what was a top 2 matchup for running back coming into that week.
Yeah.
I don't know what the Falcons are. I can't sit here and tell you that I do. At some weeks, their defense looks dominant. Other weeks, they can't stop anyone like we saw last. Like, the NFL is such a weird sport. The Falcons dominated the Bills. Let's just call it what they did, right? But the Bills punched the Panthers and the Dolphins, 2 teams that blew out the Falcons. Like, it doesn't make any sense. But the one thing that I do think needs to change there is the usage of Bijan Robinson, because as great as he has been for fantasy, Tyler Algier is still getting double-digit carries each week. Tyler Algier ran more routes in a game that they were trailing throughout than Bijan Robinson did. I won't say who, but some people that I trust a lot that are very well plugged into that organization are putting Zach Robinson on the hot seat and saying, how does this guy still have a job? Because the usage of Bijan Robinson and the way this offense has operated, it's so easy to figure out. Defenses have figured it out. And now really what you're hoping for is that the talent of Bijan and Drake London can overcome it each week. You start Drake London each week. You obviously start Bijan each week. I do think Kyle Pitts is a sleeper this week. But besides that, stay far, far away from the Atlanta Falcons.
We're talking to Michael F. Florio, Florio's Football Show. He was part of the Sick Podcast, and certainly you can catch his content on the NFL Network. Mike, the Giants and Scatterboo, that's a bummer. It was a fun story, right? And who knows what this Giants offense could be if you had Scatterboo and if you had Malik Neighbors. But now looking ahead here, is it a plug-and-play offense, or are we not really sure on Tracy, who I would think would be available, certainly Devin Singletary? What are your thoughts now about the Giants' backfield and the Giants' offense moving forward?
It is awful what has happened, and I kind of have to blame myself because not only was I pounding the table all summer for Scatterboo and Neighbors, I bought, shirts of theirs. That was the kiss of death for me, so I'm sorry, any Giants fans. But the thing about Tyrone Tracy is we've already seen him be an RB2 in this system last season. When he became the starter, he was averaging around 13 fantasy points per game. He finished top 25 at the position in 9 of 12 weeks. So the ceiling, he's not going to be an RB1 like Cam Scatterboo was. He doesn't have the run after contact ability like a Scatterboo does. I don't think he's as effective near the goal line. But he is more explosive. He is a good pass catcher because he is a receiver by trade before he transitioned to running back. We all know what Devin Singletary is at this point, and I joke a lot on our podcast that I don't think there's a coach that has benched a player more in the NFL right now than Brian Dable has benched Devin Singletary. So I just think it is Tyrone Tracy's job. I do think he is a plug-and-play, especially this week against a team like the 49ers who are so banged up that they have been struggling to just get any pressure on the quarterback and to make any sort of contact with running backs. They're towards the top in the league in yards allowed before contact. So I think this is a good landing spot, and if you're lucky enough to get Tyrone Tracy or if you've been stashing him, I think he is someone that you could use as an RB2 or a flex.
Unfortunately, the Patriots have become a thing again, and I keep trying to figure out that backfield. And Ramondre Stevenson feels like the lead, but he's not getting, anywhere close to RB1 production. And then Travion Henderson, somebody that we went into this season thinking, wow, the speed is there. This is an exciting, dynamic player. Is it just that they don't trust Henderson? And what do you make of the backfield in New England, Mike?
Ramondre Stevenson has to have some sort of dirt on Mike Vrabel. That's a joke, not serious. But every time he fumbles, Mike Vrabel comes out and makes some excuse and blames someone else. And the last time it was we need to stop letting him get hit. And I'm like, I'm sorry, he's a running back. That's literally what he is designed to do. What really frustrates me, though, is Travion had a great game last week in the touches that he was given. 3 carries up the middle, he averaged less than 3 yards per carry. Something I've been saying all year, something I've been saying going back before the NFL draft. You just need to put Henderson in an outside zone run scheme and watch the magic that he can create. Well, they finally used him last week, 7 carries out on outside zone runs. He was averaging 10 yards per carry. That is how he should be utilized, and they haven't been using him that way. My hope is that, you see it, and now you just scheme up more and more of that. But also, he had a bad fumble in the red zone, and we didn't see him again after that. And it's frustrating because the other running back there has fumbled more times than anyone, and they never penalized him for it. So it's some sort of thing with the coaches. I still do think Travion has a lot of upside. I still think it is possible he could overtake this backfield at some point, become an every-week starter. But we're not there yet, and we're still not even at a point yet where I think you could trust him with confidence in your lineup. More of a matchup-dependent thing and more of an option-dependent thing. If you have a bunch of injuries or buys, like I have on the team, sure, maybe you just take the upside shot. But in most instances, I'd rather wait and see.
Yeah, curious to get your thoughts on Brian Thomas Jr. here. I love Liam Cohen for Jacksonville saying, we have no plans on moving on from Brian Thomas Jr. It doesn't mean that they're not going to, but clearly something isn't right, and sounds like he's going to be okay to go this week. We'll get the injury report coming up tomorrow. So Jacksonville coming off the bye in what you would think would be a favorable matchup here in Vegas here, but again, a wide receiver that has 1 touchdown in the last 5 games. What are your thoughts here on Brian Thomas Jr.?
He's a hard one to figure out because he's been getting opportunities. So for much of the beginning of the year, it was all right, he has a lot of targets, but they're uncatchable targets. But then he also, I believe if he doesn't lead the league in drops, he's up there towards the top. He has left a lot of production on the field. And then to make it worse for him, The last we saw Travis Hunter, he was having his best game as a pro, and he looks the part. And I love Travis Hunter as a prospect. I thought he was the only elite wide receiver prospect in this past year's draft class. Now they're saying, hey, if he continues to outperform him, we might just operate with him as our number one. That would be crushing for Brian Thomas Jr. I'm not sure we're there yet, though. And given the matchup this week, the Jags, they get the Raiders, who are one of the worst teams at guarding outside wide receivers. So I do think this is a week where you give Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter a chance in your starting lineup. See which one can make the most of it, but it is a very favorable matchup, and I think it's possible that both of them can come through. But I did joke the other day when they were like, Brian Thomas Jr., we might be listening to calls for him. I tweeted the Wolf of Wall Street gif. I was like, hey, B, pick up the phone and start dialing, because there's still a lot of elite potential there with him, and that's exactly the kind of receiver the Bills are missing right.
Hey, what do you make of the pass catchers in Los Angeles for the Chargers? We last saw them on Thursday, and I didn't have Quentin Johnson getting a goose egg on my bingo card. I was not happy about that. But meanwhile, Ladd McConkey, who started off the season quiet, has kind of surged here over the last few weeks. Does this pass offense of the Chargers, is it able to support more than one weapon?
Yeah, the issue is right now, Gadsden, their tight end, is being so utilized that he's kind of taking away the red zone usage that was often going to Quentin Johnston. I think Johnston still is their best deep threat, so he still always brings a high ceiling, but the floor is more questionable than we thought it would be just a couple of weeks ago because Keenan Allen still remains heavily targeted. He's not playing a ton of snaps, but when he is out there, he's being targeted at a very high rate. Then you have Ladd McConkey. In the last month, he leads them in air yard share, targets, catches. He leads the whole league in that span in end zone targets. So he is back to maybe not being a wide receiver one like we drafted him to, but he's a rock-solid wide receiver two that I think you start. Keenan, more of a floor play, I would say, at this point of his career than an upside one, but he is safe. Johnson is that, swing for the fences, but you could get less than 5 points if he doesn't catch that long touchdown. I will say this, though. I know Gadsden might be out there in some of your guys' leagues, or if you picked him up last week like you should have. He is a play this week because they are facing a defense, the Titans, who use zone coverage at a very high rate. And in the last month, he has been their zone buster, him and Ladd McConkey. So I expect those two to once again have a good week this week against the Titans.
Yeah, it was a good pickup that I didn't play last week, Michael. So that's also part of it. Well, Croft did, dude. Yeah, well, it's like, hey, Danger, I had an embarrassment of riches at tight end. What can I say? By the way, Brian Thomas Jr. does lead the league with 9 drops. Judy right behind him with 8 drops. Michael F. Florio. Just wrapping up, one Bills question here. Bills Chiefs, how important is this game in your mind? The way we're kind of viewing it is, hey, if you want to win this AFC East, you got to win games like this.
Yeah, it's such a weird place to be in my opinion, because it is a huge game, right? One, I do think the Patriots are very good, but they've beaten up on a lot of bad teams. They're going to get tested more as the schedule opens. I'm not one of these Bills fans panicking about the division yet. But you do, like you said, you need to win these games. More than that, I'm thinking winning the AFC and winning a Super Bowl. And I know it doesn't matter until – and that's why it's a little weird for me this week, because it doesn't matter until they beat them in the playoffs, right? We've seen them beat them in the regular season time and time again, and it hasn't translated to playoff success. But so part of me is like, hey, maybe we let the Chiefs win this one, because the way it goes is whoever's won in the regular season going to win – the opposite's going to win in the playoffs. But having that game in Buffalo and potentially putting the Chiefs in a position where their back is against the wall division-wise, and they could be a wild card team and have to go on the road the entire playoffs. It swings the AFC between these two teams in such a big way. And the other thing I think it does, I think whoever walks off the field victorious is the front runner for MVP. I know Josh Allen has not played like an MVP right now. He's still top 3 in MVP odds. Mahomes is the leader right now. And if he could walk off the field saying, I went head-to-head against Lamar and Mahomes and beat them both, and now we're in a position to be potentially the 1 seed in the AFC at the year's end, that's going to push him up the MVP board. So it means a lot for this season, for the individual players, all of that. But as a fan, I'm still going back to, like, as much as I want to win this Sunday, it does not matter until they beat them in the playoffs.
Michael F. Florio, NFL Network, where you can see him. And, Mike, we know you got a lot of content out there for us to consume and get ready here for Week 9. Where can we get all of your work?
Yeah, start and sit 'em out tomorrow. I'll be on Insiders talking waivers later today. You catch me the rest of the week on either Fantasy Live or Insiders, NFL Fantasy Football Show, Florio's Football Show, and then me, Stevie Johnson, chopping it up every week with the Six Podcast Bills Banter. This is going to be a big week, obviously, breaking down the Chiefs. No one is more confident than Stevie, so I'm very curious to see what his opinion on this matchup is going to be. But, yeah, I'll be a little bit worried about it, and I'm sure come Sunday I'll be fired up. But we'll be breaking that all down this week, so no shortage of options. You guys could catch my work.
You know, Stevie has a job tonight here, and this is the thing I'm most interested in seeing in Buffalo tonight. He's the in-arena host at the Sabre game.
He is somewhere, literally every show we do, he's in a different city. He's doing something else. He lives the most interesting life of anyone I know. And to him, it's no big deal. He'll just be like, oh, yeah, I'm here today doing this. And I'm just like, that would be the coolest thing I've ever done.
Awesome.
So, yeah, he is just the man.
Michael, appreciate the time. Let's do it again next week, same time. What do you say?
Sounds good. Hopefully off a Bills win, and go Bills.
You got it. There's Michael F. Florio, NFL Network, talking some fantasy football, your Week 9 waiver wire pickups, some matchups you might want to exploit here as we get ready for Week 9 in the NFL.
Well, who's cold in fantasy football? I'm going to give it to Brian Thomas Jr. and those 9 drops, and you want to listen each Tuesday for who's hot and who's cold here. Get our takes on who's heating up around the league. It's presented by Heat and Cool. It's cool with a K. Why a K, Mike Danger?
Because it's cool.
That's correct.
How many drops?
9 times.
How many times did Shohei get on base?
9 times.
If you're new to the show, we pay homage to the greatest high school principal of all time, more dedicated than any high school principal you or I ever knew.
I tried to put up there Principal Skinner. You're like, no, I'll have none of that.
Edward Rooney. Ed Rooney, scouring the streets of Chicago on the hunt for Ferris Bueller, fighting truancy in any way he can. Show me a principal more dedicated than Rooney. How many times did he skip school?
9 times.
We have happy hour next. Your calls are welcome at 866-4326. We'll get to a round of shots and last call as well, where you can have the final word in the sports bar, all on the way.
You're listening sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester. An Odyssey sports station. The Fan, Rochester. Sports update.
No rest for the weary in Los Angeles. Tonight's game 4 of the World Series. Dodgers up 2-1. This after the 18-inning marathon. Tonight, Shane Bieber going for the Jays. Shohei Ohtani coming off an appearance where he made 9 for 9 in terms of reaching base. He goes for Los Angeles tonight on the mound. The Kansas City Chiefs will be without running back Isaiah Pacheco. Pacheco listed as week to week. Dan Orlovsky today on One Bills Live giving his keys to a Bills win.
The pass rush is going to be enormous. I think the play action pass with the tight ends are enormous. This is a good defense in Kansas City. Pass rush hasn't been great, but you can get some chunk throws against this defense with those 2 tight ends and the play action game. And I think the second thing is the RPO game's got to be huge.
Tonight on the Fan Sabres hockey, Buffalo taking on Columbus. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader. The Fan, Rochester.
It's time to start the show and talk about the sports we saw. Inside jokes and takes from Danger and Battaglia. Bills and the Sabres and the Amherst. Who gave a microphone to these jerks? Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
It is happy hour in the sports bar. We are powering through what's been a rough day for East Coast dads. Rough day for sports fans who tried their hardest to gut out a 6.5 hour long baseball game, Game 3 from LA last night.
I think when you get to midnight, that's the part where like, okay, how long am I actually in this
ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And if you're somebody that powered through and you're somebody that, I mean, you're listening to us now, you probably got up late, you probably slept in.
Time out. If I'm retired, if I didn't have any other responsibilities,
you're in.
I'm loving this. Now, physically, I can't do this. And you can't do this either.
I can do it. I can do it because I love the game. I love the uniforms that they wear. They're nice and tight. I like wearing them when I walk out of a cornfield. I'm a big fan of baseball. I think 6.5 hours is actually about 6.5 hours. It needs to go. Let's go to 27 innings.
I have a take. So this has happened twice in recent years. 2018, that Red Sox-Dodger game that got over, 4 in the morning or whatever
Max
it was.
Muncy with the walk-off? Right?
If last night or that game happened on East Coast time, meaning the game was actually on the East Coast, meaning that the fans in the stands, like all of a sudden, all right, am I staying? Like at what point? Like you get away with it because, hey, a little 11:30 Pacific time. It's a little late, but it's not the end of the world.
Oh, for the West Coast.
West Coast is fine.
Yeah, they're totally fine.
Yeah.
For us, sorry, 6.5 hours of anything straight feels like torture. And I like baseball, but man, and I'm not saying we need to change anything because Ghost Runner is not something I want to see in the postseason. I don't want to take for granted that we've got a historic performance from what might be the best baseball player ever, certainly of our lifetime.
They can't start it at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Like, literally, they want to keep Chicago. This is for Fox and money.
Yeah.
This is where it's at, Dan.
Yeah, it's fine. But, man, what an epic Game 3. And now, losing Game 3.
Oh, the Jays are screwed.
Yeah,
they are
going to be tough.
Yeah, because you could, and this was my fear, you could get Game 5 and stave off elimination. And, by the way, stave. You never say stave in only in that context.
Correct.
That's the only time you could use that word. They're not beating Ohtani tonight. Hard for me to imagine. And they're not going to beat Yamamoto in game number 6.
How do they rough up Ohtani? Is there a pathway to them roughing up Ohtani? I mean, they absolutely respected him so much last night. He made it on base 9 times.
9 times.
Intentionally walked, 5? 4?
4 times, and then the last one, they just kind of pitched around them.
Okay.
So think about that. 18 innings, you're reaching base 9 times. How did it even get to 18 innings if your leadoff batter is literally reaching base every single damn time?
It's insane. And now, after that 6.5 hour performance. He's on the mound. Can you rough him up if you're the Jays? I don't know. I need to see it.
You're trying to work counts. That's really what you're trying to do. You're trying to foul pitches. I know the Jays have always been on attack mode. That's the beauty of this team, Danger. But they are swinging at a lot of things. That would just be, don't be swinging at the first pitch. Make sure you're working counts. Get his pitch count up. And then after that, all bets are off. Everybody's going to be tired. They used everybody in the bullpen possible. Even Clayton Kershaw last night, Danger, where, oh my gosh, he's in with the bases loaded. This is how this guy's career is going to end. He's going to come in and melt down. No, he got out of it. So if that's the lasting image for Clayton Kershaw, good for him.
What was it? 19 runners left on base by Toronto? I mean, it's not like they were short of opportunity. So we go to Game 4, and it's bleak for the Jays. We're pulling for him. We want Ernie Clement. I know Yankee fans might be cursing the Jays.
It's funny. Every Yankee fan I talk to wants nothing to do
with the World Series.
With the Jays, yeah. Like, I figured, hey, it's Ernie Clement. Like, no, absolutely
Every
not.
Yankee fan I've talked to says the same thing. I haven't watched a second of the World Series.
Well, that's a you problem. I'm sorry. You're missing out on this. And it's a local, can't even say a kid. You have to be. This goes back to Michael Kay. And he's a Fordham guy. Pompous Michael Kay earlier saying, this Blue Jays team, that's not a first-place team. Well, he's right. I mean, they're actually a World Series team. But I love it, the fact that the Yankees have another rival. Like, it's not just Yankees-Red Sox. The Jays, that's a real rivalry now.
Also, last night, the Chiefs get over on Washington at home, Monday Night Football. You're right.
It was boring.
Yawn. I mean, the first half was sloppy, interceptions, scoreless, and the Chiefs wake up in the second half and do what they do. After lulling a team to sleep in the first half, they wake up and they get the win. So both the Chiefs and the Bills have momentum now going into Sunday nights till late in the afternoon on Sunday.
That just felt like Chiefs from 2024, where they're just sleepwalking through the first half, and you just knew they're going to show up in the second half, do enough, and it was your pick in Survivor. I guess our pick, technically.
It's our pick, Gene.
Thank you.
We're in this together.
Our pick. And if you missed it, Danger did pick the Rams. In what was, I got to say, probably the most memorable segment when it comes to Survive. And Advanced Danger, I've never gone into full-on character
I'd
like
go
you
into
did
character.
today.
I'm getting crushed right now in the neighborhood text thread.
As you should.
Nikki G was actually recording it in real time on his phone and share. Nick, you could just go into the Odyssey app and pull the segment from Rewind and share it that way. But you went through the trouble of recording it on your phone from your car radio and sharing it with the group. And yeah, they're kind of wondering, like, what got into you? Where I went into full-blown LA influencer mode. And we're going with the Rams coming off a bye week. Is it Tyler or Taylor? Who cares?
Is it Taylor Shuck? Tyler
Who
Shuck?
cares?
Oh, who cares?
He sucks.
Yeah.
He's a second-round pick, and he's not going to be good. So, yeah, the Rams all day. Give me the Rams, and we advance to Week 10. Shame on you that didn't tail me last week, Peter the pollster. Loyal. One of the loyal regulars in the sports bar.
Who would he take?
Atlanta.
Oh, sorry, Peter.
Was Atlanta at home? Yeah, they were.
They were at home. It fit all the criteria, but the bottom line, do you trust Atlanta? The answer's no.
I could take Indy this week. Bad. Who are they playing? They're playing Tennessee?
No, they're last week?
No. Who's Indy playing this week?
They're
playing
at
the Steelers.
Pittsburgh.
I think the Steelers are winning that game.
Wow.
I think the Steelers are winning that game. I know I was in character, but seriously, I believe that the Steelers are going to win that game. If you're a Steeler fan, you know the reality, right? Your team plays to the level of the competition. They're at home. Their defense that is more expensive than any other defense in the league has crapped the bed the last 2 weeks. They can't do it again, especially at home. There will be heads. I think they beat the Colts. I think the Steelers rise up and beat the Colts on Sunday.
Well, we're going to figure out the Colts soon because it's not just that game. It's the game at Arrowhead.
Yep.
If they're looking ahead to that, oops.
Yep. It's been a great story so far. It's been a nice run. The Steelers are bad, but they played at a level of their competition. Steeler fans, if you have an intellectual dialogue with yourself, you know I'm right, and you know that's what's going to happen.
So if I'm looking ahead to the end of next month, which next month will be this month coming up Saturday, I'm talking about the Steeler game on November 30th for Buffalo. That's one where we haven't even broke the seal on. I'm going to do it right now. Is that a game the Bills could trip on? I think the game at Houston is a dangerous one on the short week.
A lot can happen between now and then, and as we always say, it's not who you play, but it's when you play them.
Yeah. Like wouldn't you want to play Atlanta now? Like, how did the Bills time that out? We talked about this with Matt Perino, too. Sure, it's personnel. Oh, by the way, failed to mention this. The Bills filled their 2 roster spots. Oliver goes on IR into the 53.
Jordan Poyer.
As well as Jordan Phillips.
Oh, good.
It's the reunion tour. It's the all-in 2025 Buffalo Bills. Honk, honk, woo, woo, honk, honk. Can we bring back Harrison Phillips? Let's get Gabe Davis on the 53. Honk, honk, woo, woo. How about Balin Spector? Isn't he on the practice squad? Hey, you can bring him up, too.
Eli Anku. Eli Anku, your phone is ringing. Where's Eli Anku? What's he doing now?
Oh, incoming. Who's the linebacker that was on vacation? AJ Klein. Honk, honk. Woo, woo. I'm doing like clown sound effects. Are you kidding? I'm yelling. I just set off the alarm. Let me go.
Oh, you can't set off the... Who's setting the alarm? Don't they know there are live bodies in the building? Gene has left the studio to disarm the alarm that he just set off by being too loud because somebody set off the alarm before they needed to. That's how invisible we are to our coworkers. We're so invisible to our coworkers. They set off the alarm. They think they're the last person out. They fail to realize there's actually a live radio show happening in this studio.
Listen, the RPD has enough on their plate. I don't want them showing up here for automatic alarm. No.
Of course not. They got their hands full. So, look, the news of Poyer and Phillips being signed is comical but not surprising. And, hey, Poyer, for what it's worth, I don't necessarily think he was a liability.
Poyer's better than Hyde. Hyde was never an option last year.
We saw Jordan Hancock get some reps, which I think is good. I think we all welcome that. He showed some speed. He's certainly athletic, being that he's still a rookie. And Phillips got a sack. I mean, that was fun to see, Jordan Phillips in the backfield getting a sack. If he can affect Patrick Mahomes in some way, and he did last year, Jordan Phillips had himself a nice game last year.
I would say this, though, that game Sunday in Carolina is so hard to evaluate when you have Andy Dalton at quarterback. And, Danger, you were the one that said, this guy sucks. And when, yes.
Why didn't anybody listen to me? Why? I mean, I know I'm just the radio guy in Rochester, but seriously, I watched that guy when he was in Chicago. I watched him last year when he was playing against Chicago in Carolina. He sucks. He has nothing left. There's nothing left. He's a warm body that you can put in and say, well, we're giving him I mean, look at what he did all those years. He has nothing left. He sucks. I knew it. I knew he was going to be a liability for that team. And I didn't see anybody saying a blowout against the Panthers, too. Even, Perino said it earlier, like, oh, we were talking to the Panther beat reporters. They thought it was going to be a close game. Do you follow your team? Do you know who your backup quarterback is? He sucks. He's not very good. And I know we have an affinity for Andy Dalton. I don't want to take any of that away. Great guy, terrific human being. I mean,
I wouldn't want him as the backup in Buffalo.
No question. Keep him far away from my team.
It's over. But as far as 38-year-old gingers with the crop management, in an NFL game, that was
full.
That was elite. Yeah.
Very full, very lush, lots of volume. Yeah. Unlike the other Ginger General, which I hate to say, that'll be a season for a 6'5", 235-pound quarterback out of North Dakota State with a blue-collar work ethic and a Midwestern values. And Carson Wentz is on IR. That might be the last time he takes my breath away this year.
That's it.
Back to J.J. McCarthy. Good luck. Do you think they're regretting letting Darnold walk?
Just a little bit.
14-win seasons don't just happen. Like, there's something going on there. 14-win seasons are hard to replicate. It wasn't going to happen with the kid, and it wasn't going to happen with Carson Wentz. I don't think the Vikings are a playoff team. Sorry. Hate to say it.
We also had a little bit of, I didn't disagreement, dispute. We just have a difference of opinion. I'm thinking, okay, Brandon Beane is going to make a move, whether that's for another defensive tackle or the wide receiver or just somebody in the secondary as a depth piece. There's moves to be had. The market's just kind of going very, very slow right now. And go back to last week where I forget who the guest was, Danger. Who was it that said, hey, the market's really slow because a lot of teams think they're DA said this. Like, a lot of teams, even the Jets, still think they have a chance. Like, I see the point. This isn't baseball. But you're calling the shot here, too. Like, you realize if we get to this point next week, it's 4 o'clock next Tuesday, trade deadline. So we'll know for sure by this point next week. People will be losing their minds if the Bills roster, if your move is, well, when he's healthy, we'll promote Gabe Davis.
Well, it might be magical, though. Boy, wouldn't it be magical? What if Gabe Davis just replicates that performance, that magical performance in the divisional round?
Did we forget, like, the Eagle game? Like, he's turned the wrong way?
Yeah. I only think I'm only bracing for no movement because I think it's not for a lack of trying. I think he's trying. I just don't think he's going to part ways with what people are going to ask him for because every team knows that this is the window for the Buffalo Bills. Every team knows that they're desperate to take that next step, and every team can look at their roster and say, oh, you need a defensive tackle. That Oliver just went. You want Calais Campbell? It's going to cost you this. And furthermore, I don't think Calais Campbell wants to play in Buffalo.
Well, I think that's an easy one because for a veteran like that, before you consummate the deal, you say, hey, can we talk to him in his representation? Yes. Like, you bring the player on board. And look, if the guy wants a Super Bowl, that's the one, okay? You're 39.
Yeah, I don't think he wants a Super Bowl.
You think he just wants to check and
bad enough to come to Buffalo and play through a winter to try and get to the Super Bowl. That's just my opinion. I could be completely wrong. But when a player says, oh, yeah, I'm here to win a championship, no, they're not. Myles Garrett wasn't about winning championships. He was about the paycheck. And by the way, that guy, after a 5-sack performance.
Pissed.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. That's the guy you make calls for. Hey, what can we do to get him in the offseason?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a real challenge for them to even get from New Orleans, let's say, a Rashid Shaheed, as I know everybody says, Chris Olave. It's going to be too rich for our blood.
Well, it's also, too, if the Saints are really serious about giving Shuck a look, and they should be, you spend a second-round pick, find out. Well, how do you find out? What's the best route? How about not trading away his weapons?
Where did the Brian Thomas Jr. trade rumors stem from?
That's a weird one. Is it because, hey, he leads the league in drops? Is it? I honestly
we don't know where that came from,
yeah.
Right? So because we don't know where that came from, and we're foolish for not knowing and sourcing where that rumor originated, it is a rumor. I would like to start a rumor. I think the Bills should be in for Jamar Chase. They're not going anywhere. They don't have a quarterback to throw them the football. Go ahead and make a trade for Jamar Chase while we're at it. Yeah. Is Justin Jefferson available? I think Justin Jefferson's probably had enough of Minnesota. What do you think? Can we do a Diggs 2.0? Let's just trade for Justin Jefferson. Where do these rumors start?
Well, rumors start, but rumors can end. And maybe it's a rookie head coach, but let's role play here. I'm gonna ask you a straightforward question, Mike Danger. Tonight, are you gonna go to the moon?
No.
Okay, correct answer. Okay, you wouldn't say I don't have plans to go to the moon. You wouldn't say that. Hey, your number one wide receiver. You're going to trade these rumors? We don't have plans to. Okay, well, plans can be changed. The answer is just no.
Yeah.
Liam Cohen.
Yeah. Don't use 5 words when one will do. The answer is no.
No, like you say, no, that's a stupid question.
Right.
And then, God forbid, oh my gosh, he actually got
you
traded.
You should actually say that. Yes, that's what you should say. No, that's a stupid question. And then you should strip that reporter of their credentials and kick them out and ban them. It's like Luke from Rochester saying that they should fire Joe Brady after they beat the Ravens in the playoffs.
There's so many of these AI things. That's going to be like the next level of these AI coaches press conferences. Like, Matt Perino asks a question, like, get out. out? Kind of thing.
You are done. That's a stupid question. You're no longer allowed to ask questions of this organization ever again. Get out of here. You're banned. We're banning you from the facility for suggesting that we trade away our best wide receiver. What's wrong with you? We got to get to a round of shots next, Gino.
Yeah, we do. As there could be a change here in your ESPN programming, one that I think would be interesting if they pulled it off. Something terrible happened last night in Pittsburgh. We're trying to get an update on this. A night in Buffalo that maybe you're excited, not so much here. And you would, because it's the same ownership, you would never get the Bills suing the Sabres. But we have a major market where one team is suing the other. I don't think we've ever had anything like this.
Somebody's getting sued? Did they fall down the stairs?
Perhaps.
Okay.
Got a round of shots on the way. And last call. You could have the final word at 866-4FAN, 866-4326.
You're listening
Ohtani going for the LA Dodgers. The Dodgers up 2-1. Kansas City Chiefs are going to be shorthanded in the backfield. Isaiah Pacheco is going to get an MRI. He is listed now as week to week. The Chiefs, a small favorite in Buffalo. Sean McDermott certainly has respect for them.
We have a ton of respect for them. They've had, like us, a lot of success and been able to sustain it. So they're playing at a high level. So we'll take a look at that. And more so, we need to focus on how we can grow as a football team and move ourselves forward.
Tonight here on The Fan, it's Sabres hockey. Buffalo looking for their 5th win of the season. Columbus is the opponent. 6:45 for the coverage. Amerks tomorrow night playing in Belleville. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Got a smart speaker at home? Listen to the sports leader, The Fan Rochester at home, by asking it to play 95.7 The Fan.
Also, by the way, if you're a podcast listener, you can find us wherever you get your shows, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Just search out The Sports Bar. All of our guest appearances listed there. Happy Hour continues in The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia. It's time for a round of shots on The Fan.
All right, so here's the latest on George Springer. The Jays say, we don't know. We're playing this game still hour to hour. The Jays don't have to put up their lineup just yet. Springer last night leaving with, I don't know, looked like an oblique, looked really bad. Manager John Schneider just said after the game it sucks about the possibility of Springer being out for the rest of the series. He was hitless in games 3. He did have 3 hits, though, combined in games 1 and 2 in Toronto.
I think you need that guy. And I don't know what the ailment is. If it's an oblique and it's something that keeps him out, that would be a real bummer, because that guy is in October. He's an assassin. Jays need that guy.
He's the guy at the top. Like, so what do you do if you were the Jays? Do you put Clement up there? I'm not sure. There's no easy answer here. To me, it feels like the walls all of a sudden are closing in here on the Jays.
They'll always have game 1, though, Gino. I hope I'm wrong, but they'll always have game 1.
It was a fantastic game.
It was memorable.
If you look closely at everyone coming out of the Dodger bullpen last night, they all had 51 written on the side of their caps. Dodger leader Alex Vesia, number 51, missing the World Series because he and his wife are dealing with what they are saying is a deeply personal issue. 17 relievers combined last night.
That's insane. I mean, just all of the record-breaking. How many, was it 19 runners left on base by the Blue Jays over the course of that game?
Well, then think about it. Shohei gets on base 9 times. 18 innings, 9 times you're on base.
9 times.
How did that game get to 18 innings in the first place?
Right.
So the Dodgers couldn't bat him in.
You don't need a ghost runner. You have one. His name is Shohei.
I'm fascinated, too. You have to watch early tonight. Okay, what does Bieber do at the beginning? He's pitching to him, but not really, right? Like, ball outside. Ball low, down and away.
Let's just soak it in. I mean, this guy is a phenomenon, and we are in the golden age of Shohei. This is it.
So what's the difference between Buffalo and Rochester? I'll tell you this. We can say things here honestly. The Sabres are just trying to sell you some tickets tonight. It's Bills night at KeyBank Arena.
Oh.
This straight from the marketing department. Quote, this night will feature appearances from Bills players, legends, and superfans, and infuse the game day traditions from Highmark Stadium into the Sabres experience. What the hell does that even mean?
Super fans.
Yeah.
I love the super fans that are treated as celebrity. Like, the guys that have 9-to-5 jobs during the week, but then they'll dress up as, a werewolf on or in our case an Elvis, or the Darth Vader mask, or whatever it is, like the celebrities. Pinto Ron getting doused with ketchup and mustard before the game. Yeah, that's all fun and good. At a Bills game, I don't know why we're doing this for the Sabres.
Yeah. The saving grace here would be the in-arena host tonight, former wide receiver Stevie Johnson. That's going to be fun.
Okay.
There's another contest, Danger, where you get to watch the game from a suite. Enter to win with Steve Tasker.
Great.
I wonder if Tasker is questioning his life decisions if he's like, I've got to do this tonight.
He's not. We know that guy. He's going to be on his game. Tasker's.
Oh, he'll be on.
Tasker's great.
Sabres Columbus 6:45 in the Fan. You don't know why that. Tonight is the night in the NHL where everybody's playing. They're staggering the start times. Philadelphia coming up 6 o'clock tonight.
Funny, like we were talking about this off the air. This is more of an NHL question, and maybe it's an ESPN question, but why tonight? Why the frozen frenzy tonight before the end of the month of October? Are you trying to get people excited about the season that just got underway?
How about you wait until after the World Series?
That makes
I'm
sense.
Sorry. Like, Tuesday night should be a night where, hey, we're going to claim that, and you're going to get lost doing this tonight. I'm sorry.
That's right. There will be more eyeballs on Game 4 from LA than there will be on anything that ESPN is throwing out there. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's like, well, this is the best product we can throw out there to go against the World Series, but it's not going to hold a candle to Game 4, especially after what happened late last night. And I don't know. I mean, I just think you could do this later. You could do this in early December or November, at any point in November, if you really wanted to kind of shine a spotlight on that league.
This last night from Pittsburgh, moments after Anthony Mantha, the Penguins, scored to make it a 2-0 lead over the Blues. A man fell from the upper level at the PPG Arena. Police says there was another person who kind of broke his fall at the suite level, but this person actually fell to the lower ball. The unidentified man, they still haven't identified him, life-threatening injuries from the fall. The weird thing, and I'm going to give the Penguins a pass on this because everybody who saw it was terrified, but the game continued on. Like, nobody apparently was out of sight from the press box and out of, certainly the cameras. So, and then the game continuing on. So just kind of a weird scene in Pittsburgh last night.
I'm developing a phobia. It's not a fear of heights, but I think it is a fear of falling. After my shed mishap where I fell from the top of a ladder in my shed and landed on the ladder. And now I've had like more than one recurring dream where I'm falling. I don't know. I don't have like a dream book. I don't know what that is, but like it's in my kitchen for sure.
Get Jim the Hammer Shapiro. Wasn't that you just throw the cartoon of the guy falling? Remember that injury?
Yeah, can I sue? I'm going to sue my wife for making me go into the shed. And I fell down the ladder and I lost my glasses.
After ESPN killed off Around the Horn, the reports that the network was going to launch a betting show. Well, that's yet to happen. And right now, it's just a sports center running at 5 p.m. Most days, that's what we see. The network danger may now have a solution. Edwin Marchand reporting that SVP Scott Van Pelt could be moving from the 11 p.m. to the 5 p.m. Eastern slot, basically the same show. In fact, ESPN tried to bring back Ryan Russillo, but Russillo passed on this. He opted for Barstool.
I think that makes sense. I mean, I'm kind of curious as to why they wouldn't have thought of that sooner. If Van Pelt does a great job, his sports center is awesome late at night, but I don't think enough people see it. So move it up to a time of day where you have more eyeballs. He's great. He's been doing it a long time. He's a great interviewer. Show is fun. It moves. I would put Van Pelt in front of Russillo. If they were asking Russillo to do that, I would say, well, what's wrong with Van Pelt? Is Van Pelt afraid of doing the 5 o'clock? Does he not want to be on during the day?
Oh, no. The way I kind of read that, I think Van Pelt and Russillo was the most underrated sports talk
No, they were great.
show. Fantastic. But
they're no Danger and Battaglia, but they're pretty good.
You would give us a network chance here, Danger, and we'd be talking about this at some point too, I'm sure. You don't see this too often. The Dallas Mavericks are suing the Dallas Stars.
Oh.
They both share the same arena. The Mavericks are suing the Stars for alleged breach of contract regarding a dispute over the renovation of the American Airlines Center. The lawsuit claims that the Stars have obstructed maintenance and improvements to their shared arena. The lease expires for both teams in the year 2031. My read on this, the Stars maybe are trying to force the Mavs out, but don't the Mavs want to build a whole new big center around supposedly a new gaming?
I'm going to sue the Mavericks. I'm going to sue Cooper Flagg for punitive damages. I'm suing Luka Doncic, and I'm suing Bob Vila. He was very mean to me when I asked him about renovations to the arena. He was very mean. He cursed me out. He said mean curse words. He threw me down a flight of stairs. I broke my ass pipe, and I lost my glasses.
I don't want to push the envelope too far, Gino.
No, that's your limit.
Enough?
That's your
Okay.
quota. I want to be respectful. Hey, your call here. When was this? January. Banned Luke from Rochester from the show.
Are you telling me Luke's on hold?
You mentioned Luke. He's on hold.
What
do we do here?
I think we go to break.
Okay.
I think you let Luke plead his case because I'm not about lifting a ban. How soft is that? So Luke better come with the take of all takes, and we find out about it before we let Luke come on the air and spew garbage like.
See, I would say if Luke wants to lift the ban, he's got to come. And Luke, this has been
it's been a pretty good penance for Luke. I want to say it's been. I mean, this was January.
Do we have that audio when Luke is calling for Joe Brady to be fired after a playoff?
I do, but if I were to replay it now, Luke would not get back on the air because we would be wrapping up the show.
We'd be so angry.
So let's take a break. Take a break. Yeah, Luke from Rochester, who's banned, maybe a little penance right now, waiting on
Flying
hold.
for reinstatement.
Okay, we'll see. Last call is next at 866-4326. Maybe the regulars can weigh in on this as well. Should we lift the ban on Luke from Rochester? I say no. Sorry, Luke. I'm sure you're a nice guy.
No, I think Luke, he's a loyal listener.
We'll
He's
hear
got
him out.
Bills takes.
We'll take a break. We'll hear him out. And if you're a regular to the show, 866-4FAN, you can weigh in as well. Luke looking for reinstatement into the sports bar next on The Fan.
You're in the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
It's last call on the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia, and much like we witnessed a historic performance last night in Game 3 of the World Series, something historic may be happening next in the Sports Bar. I will state for the record, I am vehemently against this move. This is a regular in the Sports Bar that we banned earlier this year. Banned for a horrible take.
But this isn't Pete Rose. He didn't commit a crime. It was just a bad take.
Horrible take.
I think he can apply for reinstatement.
All right, so Gene, whose heart bleeds apparently, Gene is in favor of this. I am not, and I will say, not only am I not in favor of this, if this happens, I'm standing by. I've got a real itchy trigger finger and a very short fuse. All right, it's last call at 866.
Don't be afraid of him, Luke.
4FAN. What do you got, Luke?
All right. Hey, first, thank you for the opportunity to redeem. Sometimes I get emotional, and maybe it was a strong take. But I do have some kind of ammunition to support my position.
Nope. Not listening to it, Luke. I don't want to hear who needs to be fired. You're going to go back to that well. Nope. Done. They did this for a week last week in Buffalo. They did this for a week last week during the bye week. The entire bye week was fire McDermott, fire this guy, fire that guy, fire everybody.
They scored 40 points.
Done. I'm done. We're not having that conversation. Luke, the ban is still on. Feel free to never call us again. I love that you listen. I appreciate you, buddy. You have nothing to support the idea that McDermott or anybody right now should be fired. We can have this conversation at the end of the season, and I've actually said, hey, if the defense doesn't improve, McDermott is setting up a scapegoat in Bobby Babich if it doesn't improve. But with McDermott involved, I think it'll improve. Babich will probably be safe if it improves. But no, we're not having that conversation.
Luke, all you had to do was, hey, that was then, this is now, here's my take.
It wasn't a strong take.
Going back to
Luke
made it worse.
Luke actually believes that his take in January of fire Joe Brady after they beat the Ravens in the divisional round was a strong take. Roll the tape. You heard what he said. That was not a strong take, Luke. That was a trash take. That's a troll take. You're trolling. You're not making us better. You're making us worse. If you're going to come into the Sports Bar, enhance what our audience is listening to. That ain't it. Sorry, Luke. The ban is on.
He's kind of going back to that argument. No.
I told you I had a real short fuse, a real itchy trigger finger. If you're going to support your argument as to why you think everybody should be fired, I'm not listening to it. I feel bad for our cohorts in Buffalo. That was their entire bye week, fending off the callers of fire McDermott, fire this guy, fire that guy, fire everybody. Guys, McDermott's not getting fired. He's won 5 straight divisional championships. If they don't make the playoffs this year, guess what? McDermott's not getting fired. I have news for you.
Does Joe Brady leave and take another job, though? Like, say, at LSU?
Can you really stop the guy from doing that?
No, I mean, I'm just saying, like, there's a reason why he's the third favorite right now betting odds. Other people value his work.
I think it's unlikely. And the only thing I will listen to is that he may be setting up Babich as a scapegoat if the defense doesn't improve through the course of the season. But I think the defense is going to improve. In fact, I think you could see the defense look more like what we expect as soon as Sunday.
You've got 4 new bodies, essentially. Hairston, Hancock, Hoyt, Ogunjobi.
You got some new bodies.
Yep.
You got a team that's coming in that's, let's face it, one-dimensional. You've got speed now with Hairston that can match up against the Xavier Worthies and the Rasheed Rices of the world. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills' defense steps up and plays well against Kansas City on Sunday.
That did not go the way I expected it. I thought it was going to be, okay, welcome back in.
I knew exactly how it was going to go. Luke, I love you, man. Thank you for listening. But your takes are absolute garbage. Absolute garbage. You need to come more correct if you're going to come into the Sports Bar. That was awful. I knew exactly where you're going. I'm not even going to listen to it. I don't even want to hear it. They've done it for a week in Buffalo. It's scorched earth. You have an opinion that he should be fired. Great. It's not happening. Can we move on? Thanks. All right. Hope everybody has a great night. Enjoy Game 4.
What a memorable day here in the sports bar.
No question.
Hopefully a 9-inning game tonight. Is that too much to ask for?
Sabres tonight coming up at 6:45, but listen anyways. We're back tomorrow starting at 3 o'clock. PJ Glasser and, oh great, Jay Binkley from The Fan in Kansas City as well. JR Sport Brief next on The Fan.
You're listening to the Sports Bar.